unmute. Give me a second, gang. Let me unmute. Hey everyone, how's it going? Today is going to be a day. We have a lot planned for you, right? I'm in my activity gear. Okay, I'm not wearing the collared shirt today. It's because today we're getting down and dirty. We're getting into the trenches. We're getting muddy. We're gonna get all these things. First of all, welcome to the stream. Hope you're all right. I'm gonna let you funnel in. I'm gonna let you get in there. Give me a second moment. I'm adjusting some things. Jenny will be joining us at 6, so we got but I wanted to go live a little early to talk to you directly. Yeah, we got some things to talk about today. Today is going to be a long day. Okay, let me bring these links some here. First of all, Sultan Al Fahim, hi. The Growling Arachnid, hello. We are going to be we're going to be going over so many things today. So many things. This is just the start. Okay, this is just the start. Again, I am just doing my basic advertising. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. It won't take but a moment. Okay. Should I post it in Sunday's Discord too? That would be funny, but no, that's somewhat disrespectful. So we'll see. Sunday's on the attack, huh? Well, that's fine. If I were him, I would be doing damage control desperately as well before this, because again, let's clear some things up. I did not write this manifesto. This is not my work. Okay? I take no credit for this. However, I have seen it, or at least in an earlier version of it. I wanted to make sure that if I was going to platform this, it wasn't going to be an embarrassment. It wasn't going to be a nothing burger with, just silly things that aren't backed up, etc., etc. No, this makes a strong case. It presents a strong case that President Sunday has engaged in targeted harassment, and it showcases how he has both misrepresented and lied directly about some of the statements that were released in the group chat. What this manifesto does not do is it does not go through President Sunday's whole career. That's beyond the scope of this document. What it does do is focus specifically on this incident, and showcase, again, the tactics used by Sunday in order to smear both Brianna Wu as well as the other people, anyone around her. The callous disregard that is shown towards anyone around her. And it's pretty meticulous. The document itself will be available on Jenny Matrix's website when it's done getting gussied up, getting cleaned up. There are clips and stuff that that she wants to add to it, right? The presentation's important, right, for how you do these things, so it's easily accessible. The links are all clickable, and you can actually see what is being said. But tonight, we are going to present it, and we're going to just go through the clips, again, directly from the video itself to the pertinent thing. Thank you, Tesco Johnson, for the $2. Really appreciate it. Yeah, you did forget to like the stream? Well, that can be rectified. You can like it now. So that's our first segment tonight. Is Jenny Matrix will be coming on as a representative, right? And she will be presenting her case. I will be asking questions as we go. I have verified the things that are going to be said tonight. There are some things that I could not verify that I was like, no, I'm not comfortable showing this on stream because I don't know if it's true or not, right? So these are all things that are direct words, right? The direct statements from President Sunday's mouth. And we're going to, again, show them live on air. And then we are going to demonstrate exactly how these are false and mischaracterized in what can only be a purposeful fashion, right? I don't think it's going to convince his sycophants, right? If you have his dick like all the way down your throat, it's not going to matter to you. You don't care. Like, you literally do not care about the truth of the matter. But for those of the people who have just kind of seen this come across their feed, right? Who have seen this expose that he did, and have concerns based on the way it was presented and what President Sunday claimed that was going on, it's fair to have valid concerns. This answers that directly. It also basically it's a kill shot, gang. If you trust Sunday after this, I don't know what to tell you. That's on you. It just is what it is. But again, I can't take credit for this. I did not write it. I did not put it together. So please, I am simply the humble, good-looking, fairly somewhat annoying presenter of this. I get it. I'm a little annoying, but it's fine, right? We'll get into it. That's not the only content we have for you tonight, though. Oh, no. You think that simply presenting this would be all that I would give you, my dear Wickers? Of course not. Of course not. Because we're going to be talking about something else that I think that deserves to be talking about at about 8 o'clock. At about 8 p.m. Eastern tonight. We're going to be having Karina on from 𝕾𝖎𝖎 podcast, as well as Oliver. And we're going to be talking about why people feel the need to hide certain opinions from the likes of Sunday and his ilk. Why do you feel the need? Why do people feel the need to not question certain things, right? Why is there an atmosphere of fear around even talking about these issues? The manifesto kind of builds in to this conversation. It's a separate conversation, to be clear, right? This is not connected. Karina is not connected to the manifesto in any way, shape, or form. Just out the gate, right? But it does. What the manifesto does is show how very real this fear is. It's not something people are just making up. It's not all in their heads. If you deviate, even if you are suspected of deviating from this orthodoxy, you will be targeted for direct harassment by these people who will. And again, this is why we couldn't show this on stream, because there are messages, both public and private, that have been shared not only with 𝕵𝖎𝖎, but with the people in the group chat, death threats, all sorts of just terrible things that, again, I'm not comfortable showing this on Twitch because Twitch is goofy. And we're going to show the direct, again, not only that the harassment was received, but how this harassment was directly linked to the lies that Sunday painted. Okay? And this harassment is ongoing harassment. It is still happening. At least 43 minutes ago, right? It was still happening. Again, people targeting not only 𝕵𝖎𝖎, but the members of the group chat who just existed there, and harassing them. I don't know what to tell you, right? But if you think that's okay, I'm not okay with that. And I want to be very, very clear. If anyone, right, you can disagree with Sunday all you want, but we don't do tit for tat here. We don't do eye for an eye here. No. If I hear of any of you little gremlins or goblins doing that same kind of harassment to Sunday and his community, I will ban you from mine. We don't play that game. You will not give them death threats. You will not call them slurs. You will not do this. That is outside the bounds of what we are about. And if I find that you have done it, if people give me evidence that you have done this, right, I will ban you from my community. So don't. Simple as. Okay? Cool. Excellent. Glad we got that out of the way. Again, Jenny will be with here shortly, and we will start this shit show, if you will. Yeah, I'm too busy to do real harassment anyway. Like, look, if you want to argue with him, if you want to say, call him a liar, I mean, after tonight, that's fair game. I mean, but no slurs, no death threats. Cool. Again, what I am doing this for is I think it's important to, when lies are told, that there be a response. Again, this is not my response. This is Jenny Matrix's response, one of the people who was harmed by Sunday here. Again, I am not a white knight. I don't need to save anyone. Jenny Matrix is acting as a front person for this, and she's going to present. Is Sunday watching? I don't know. Maybe. Probably. I hope he does. And I hope he does showcase this to his audience. It would be helpful for them to see. So we will see. We will see. I don't know. Will this be a feud that will span for years? I don't know about that. I don't know. Like a years-long feud. Here, let me get my Kick chat up too, so I'm not forgetting you lovelies. Okay, quick shout out to my Kick viewers. Okay, I know you're in there. It's a look. Okay, I have trouble. I need another monitor to make sure I have all my chats on the screen or something. Like it's a problem, but we will get through it. Okay, we will get through it. So again, forgive any technical errors on this. It is known that I am I'm a silly goose when it comes to technology. So there might be some issues in the when we view the segments in the transitions and things like that. So forgive me for that. It's going to be scuffed. Again, the full document, edited, gussied up, made pretty, will be made available on Jenny Matrix's website, which she will link to you as we go. It's not going to be up today. It'll be up soon, though. Again, she wants to make sure that all the links work, all the clips look good, and that's accessible. The content, though, the content's ready. Content's hot. The content's coming to you directly. So we'll get that done. Okay. Let me see if she's here yet. She's not here yet. She's DMing me, though. Oh, she has a thing. It's going to be a minute or two. A minute or two, and then she'll be here. She is part of the Matrix Wick. Maybe. Maybe. We will see, right? Again, I'm not going to speak for her. This is her words. Full disclosure, I did see parts of these, right? Again, I want to make sure you know that while it's not my work, I did look it over first. And anything that I felt was just, hey, you didn't back this up, it should have been taken out. If she's presenting it and I see something that I was like, whoa, I'll interrupt and I'll be like, yo, what you doing? I asked you not to show that, right? But I don't suspect that'll happen. We'll see, right? Because again, what we're doing here is we're going to showcase, with Sunday's own words, again, we're going to contrast them with what is actually said and then what Sunday implies is said. And we're going to go case by case by case by case and show you how he purposefully, directly deceived his audience. And again, through and because of a direct result of his lies and deceptions, has led to the targeted, continuous harassment of not only 𝕵𝖎𝖎 herself, but the members of the group chat in question, which he took no effort to protect their identities or names, no effort to redact anything else, any profile pictures, any direct names. No effort whatsoever was given. And because no effort was given, these persons were found, targeted, and harassed. We will be showing that live on screen. Again, I don't know whether that was purposeful or not. With the non-𝕵𝖎𝖎 people. With 𝕵𝖎𝖎 people, absolutely it was purposeful. Like, he, again, purposefully targeted her for harassment. He felt he was justified in doing so. And directing harassment against her. Yeah, that's no question. But the other people, I think, I don't know. I can't read his mind, right? But nothing yet. Just my preamble.
Oh,
Because we have the
hello.
woman of the hour here. Hello.
Hi.
Well, it's a big day. How are you feeling?
It is. Yeah, I'm feeling all right. I think I'm pretty confident about all of this. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting stream, I think.
Okay. I'm going to let you kind of take the reins here. Um, and if you want me to uh, showcase anything, if you want me to back up anything, just let me know. Also, throughout, as you present it, if I have questions or comments, I'll interrupt you because that's what I do. I'm an interrupter. It's my show. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. So I think most of what we're going to be doing is just going through Sunday's stream where he shows the leaks and
Mhm.
going over some claims that he makes in there and discussing them. And then we'll move on to the kind of fallout from all of this and a bit of a broader discussion about it. I do have a bit of an introduction, which I suppose I'll just read now, and then we can bring up that video. So, for anyone who doesn't know, 27th of September, President Sunday hosted a stream on his channel called the 𝕵𝖎𝖎 Leaks. In this stream, he posts a few select screenshots of a group chat that I was in with about 15 other people, including Brianna. He leaks these messages because, in his own words, Brianna has to go. There are a few things that he believes these messages prove. Firstly, that Brianna does not support non-binary people. Secondly, that Brianna wants to exclude non-binary people from the trans community for political reasons. Thirdly, that she is a transmedicalist. Fourth, that she is lying about her positions on trans issues and that her private and public stances on these issues are contradictory. And five, that she is using a group chat to coordinate harassment and bullying. All of these claims I have sources for, which I have timestamps in the video if anyone doubts that Sunday has made these claims. So we can get into that if you feel that's necessary. A strong theme in his coverage is relying on the implication of what's being said in the messages and his framing of them to make his arguments for them without actually substantiating his claims. He takes advantage of the fact that being a chat where there is an expectation of privacy, people don't feel the need to be as precise with their wording as they otherwise might be if they were speaking publicly. This is something that works to the advantage of anyone who's trying to take advantage of these messages. This works to the advantage of anyone who's trying to use these messages to frame the people who sent them in a negative light. It's worth noting that these leaks were they were sent to him from after he began his campaign against Brianna a few days ago. So his interpretation of what was said and his actions taken on that basis are heavily influenced by his own biases. And also, the person who sent the messages to him pre-clipped them to frame Brianna in a certain way. As we will see, none of the main claims he makes about Brianna are substantiated by what's in these messages.
And
Sunday. Oh, yeah?
yeah, can you just read off the claims again, just to reiterate, please?
Yeah, sure. So the claims again that Brianna doesn't support non binary people, that she wants to exclude non binary people from the trans community for political reasons, that she is a transmedicalist, and that she is lying about her positions on trans issues, and that her private and public stances on these issues are contradictory. And also that she is using a group chat, this one in particular, to coordinate harassment and bullying.
Okay. Are you ready to switch to the video? And you can give me a timestamp, and we could just kind of do this. And again, I'm going to let you direct it, so you tell me when to stop and start, etc. Is that cool,
Yeah,
Kosher?
sure. So the first bit is at 49:07.
Okay. Forgive me, gang, if the transition's rough here. I might have to adjust, so we'll see how it goes. Hold on a second. Boom, and this. Nope, that's the wrong one. Yes, this one. This one. This is what we're looking at. And I don't know if you can see the stream. Um,
I can't. Is there a way you could share your
I'm
screen
a
with me?
well, I don't know. Not in stream at the same time. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna hit play. Okay, I'm gonna say 3, 2, 1, go. We're gonna hit play on this. I'm at 4908 to be clear, because I couldn't get it to exactly 4907. And then when you want me to stop, I'll stop. It might be helpful. Yeah. So it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be a little scuffed, but this is how we're gonna do it. Cool. Cool.
Okay. All right. Well, I've got the video open now, so just tell me when.
And 3, 2, 1, go.
𝕵𝖎 hasn't been doing too hot lately. She's been making some gaffes. Not like this though. This
Okay,
is the
pause.
sissy.
Okay.
So it didn't take long to get here, but this bit requires some context before we get into it. So, okay, so 𝕵𝖎, for anyone who doesn't know, is a trans woman and political commentator who used to work for the Young Turks. She had a debate with Charlie Kirk in which she revealed herself to be a tanky and genocide denier. In this debate, she praised Stalin and Mao, did 𝕵𝖎 for the actions of both, and laughed at the suggestion that millions of deaths that occurred during the Holodomor were deliberate. 𝕬𝖎𝖙 then covered this debate in a video she made where she was very critical of 𝕵𝖎's performance and the things that she had said. 𝕵𝖎 then accused 𝕬𝖎𝖙 of going after her and posted a tweet making light of 𝕬𝖎𝖙's coverage by joking about people subscribing to 𝕵𝖎 on OnlyFans. I can send you that tweet if you'd like.
I'm not, maybe, but I don't think that's important for the.
Sure.
Yeah.
So Brianna posted a screenshot of 𝕵𝖎's tweet saying, "If your response to a thoughtful, well-sourced video criticizing the historical inaccuracy of your position is subscribe to my nudes, it's hard for me to take you seriously."
Is this shown on the screen? Is this shown in the leaks that President Sunday made, or is this before?
Oh, this is something Brianna said publicly.
Okay, fair enough.
This is just to explain so there was a
context,
pre-existing kind of relationship, if you like, between Brianna and 𝕵𝖎, and this kind of frames it.
Okay.
This kind of explains how that developed. So, okay, there is a bit more back and forth until later. Brianna eventually comes into 𝕵𝖎's Twitch chat after 𝕵𝖎 had been talking about her and says, "Hey 𝕵𝖎, I did not critique you for attention. I critiqued you because I thought 𝕬𝖎𝖙's raised some thoughtful points." And 𝕵𝖎 then responds by going on a 3-minute rant about Brianna and North Korea. She starts talking about a post that Brianna apparently made and then deleted about a North Korean famine, and then pivots to some random North Korea apology where she says that North Korea treat their poorest people better than we do, which is kind of bizarre. Eventually, Brianna leaves, and then 𝕵𝖎 and our co-host talk about her again. This is kind of the important bit. So 𝕵𝖎 says, at minimum, Brianna is unhelpful to trans people. And our co-host says, "I don't care if she's trans or not. She's not welcome in the trans community. She's not allowed to be part of the community either way. She's not in the trans community, so to speak." So,
okay. So she
to kinda-
basically
to-
said, "You're kicked out of the trans community. You're no longer a part of us," right?
yeah, for making some very mild comments about a debate that 𝕵𝖎 had where she denied genocide and
Okay.
ran
So now we
apology
have
of-
the context, right?
yeah.
How
yeah,
does this
exactly.
apply to this situation?
So President Sunday is about to bring up an interaction in the group chat where some things are said about 𝕵𝖎 that are mean. I'll be honest, they are mean. I kind of stand by what I said, but they aren't unwarranted because these people, or 𝕵𝖎 in particular, has said some pretty awful things about Brianna. And after that, after that interaction, it's worth noting that Brianna apparently received some death threats from 𝕵𝖎's followers.
Do you have
on
links to
Blue
those?
Sky.
Or,
I
copies?
asked and she didn't get back to me. So
Okay, fair enough.
unfortunately, we
We're
can't
gonna- that's
show
a-
those.
Yeah, I can't verify that one. So, yeah, strike
Yeah.
that from the record.
Fair enough. Okay. So yeah, there is like another key point here as well. So Sunday introduced this by saying, Benny had been making some gaffes, but not like this. Kind of implying that what we're about to go over is somehow worse than the things that Benny has said. And Benny is someone who should be regarded in the same way that a neo-Nazi is regarded, or somebody who denies the Holocaust. Frankly, she is a vile piece of shit.
So the
And
implication here, as I understand it, as you were at least alluding to, is that in President Sunday's, and again, as we just saw, and I can rewind it a little bit and play it again, President Sunday introduced Benny as someone who's made some gaffes lately, but nothing like this were his words. And again, the gaffes being genocide denial. That's the gaffe. And this, what, again, he's going to leak and show that 𝕵𝖎𝖙 said is worse than genocide denial. That is, again, what you're accusing here, what you're stating?
I think I think what happened is that Sunday, I don't think that Sunday thinks that what Benny said is okay by any means. I just think he is so desperate for a dunk on 𝕵𝖎𝖙 that he was willing to downplay what Benny has said to make sure that his claim lands harder, to make it seem like Benny maybe didn't deserve what 𝕵𝖎𝖙 said.
Okay, should we continue?
Yeah, sure.
We will continue.
So let me just find where I am.
When you're ready, let me know.
Sure.
We are at 49:22 to be clear.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Yep.
The hippo pub, apparently. This is Cactus. Some of you may know Cactus. It puts the lotion on his skin. Her dress reminds me of those god-awful skirts that femboys buy. Please, says 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙. And then 𝕵𝖎𝖙 here. God. Oh, I guess we'll have to, you know what? Screw it. We'll just reset the transformation. I thought that was going to be all neat. I'd have it, like, nice and orderly, but okay. Her dress reminds me of those god-awful skirts that femboys buy. Please, God, no. I mean, if you're not super hot, maybe just dress normally and don't present yourself as a transvestite. You can go a long way with just being skinny and dressing normally.
Okay, pause.
Paused.
So our comments in here were about how she dressed. Overwhelmingly, the closest claim anyone has to us saying that we were calling we were calling Benny ugly was 𝕵𝖎𝖙 saying she's not super hot. The transvestite comment that she made was about her outfit and would have applied just as well to a cis woman who wore something that exaggerated her more masculine features. And this is after multiple days of discourse about Benny, where Benny had said some pretty awful things about 𝕵𝖎𝖙 publicly. And this was a comment about how she dressed made in a private chat, not to Benny's face. This wasn't said to Benny. This was said about Benny somewhere where she would never see it. Unless, well, I mean, until Sunday leaked the chat, of course.
Unless someone shows it to her, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so, oh, another thing. So I'm not sure if Sunday has said this yet or not. I didn't catch it, but he claims at some point that we were responding to a picture of Benny that Cactus posted, which only showed Benny's face. This isn't true. He believed this, or he said this, because he doesn't have a complete picture of most of these conversations, and this is a running theme throughout Sunday's stream, as we'll see. Messages that have been, if you check the timestamps, clipped out of order, extremely out of order, and Sunday seems to think that certain conversations feed into each other when actually they don't. And the picture that we were responding to was something that had been posted before, where her whole outfit was shown. So it's not just this picture of her face, okay? And also, I'm not going to defend the thing that Cactus said. That was really scummy. Like, come on, Cactus.
Fair enough.
I don't know why you'd say that.
Mean words. But I guess
Yeah.
my question for you is, how does this show Sunday is lying? Or Sunday is being manipulative? Can you explain that?
It shows that because this has been presented as 𝕵𝖎𝖙 calling Benny a slur, as if this is like some as if this was like some super undeserved comment, as if she was saying something transphobic about Benny, when in reality I just think that's completely untrue. I don't think that this proves that at all. I don't think saying somebody presents themselves as a transvestite is inherently a transphobic thing, and especially given the context that he leaves out or that he downplays about the previous interactions between Brianna and Benny. I don't think that what is said here is unwarranted at all.
Okay. But you can see why some people might think that, right? That this,
I
I'm not
can.
defending. To be clear,
Sure.
I want to make my audience clear. I'm not defending this. I think this was wrong for Brianna Wu to say, right?
Fair enough.
This
But
was a
again, this
strong
was
point.
said in private after some pretty awful things have been said
Sure.
by the other party
Fair enough.
about Brianna publicly. So
Okay.
I am not going to lose sleep over it, and I don't think anyone else should either.
Noted. Shall we continue?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Give me a second. 3. We are at 50-15, to be clear. 3,
Okay.
2, 1, go.
This is Brianna Wu responding to a photo on Twitter of Benny from the Young Turks, formerly of the Young Turks. I am using MS Paint. What kind of technological mastermind do you think I am? Oh, this is going bad. Cactus replies, I would be more okay with non-binaries if they wouldn't co-op my medical condition. They're not real, can we just admit that? It's depressing how many trans spaces I'm not allowed in because I have wrong think. Brandon Wu, to her credit.
Okay.
So Brianna Wu is apparently saying in this transmedicalist group chat where she's voicing all of her true, evil, secret opinions about non-binary people. And the first thing that she says in this conversation is non-binary people are obviously real.
And it's hard to tell from the picture. That's something Brianna Wu said?
Oh, you'll see a later message
Okay.
Where it does show that it's cropped very poorly, but there is a screenshot that clearly shows that.
Okay.
So why would she say this if it was true that she wanted to exclude non-binary people from the trans community if she didn't think non-binary people were real?
Do you have a
or
timestamp? Do you have a timestamp on hand of President Sunday saying that Brianna Wu thinks that non-binary people aren't real, or that she is transmedicalist or something, right?
Yeah, sure. So
Can we go to
Brianna wants
that?
to.
I think that might be helpful at this juncture.
Yeah, so I can show her saying that Brianna. Sorry, I can show. God, I think I just misgendered Sunday. Damn, I'm all over the place.
It's okay. It's okay. Relax. It's fine.
So Brianna wants to exclude non-binary people from the trans community. And also Brianna doesn't support non-binary people. Okay. 125:45.
In this same video, 125:45.
Yes.
We'll get there. So make a note right now, gang. 51:01. That's where we're at. You got that noted? So we can come back to it easy? 51:01. And so what are we going to right now?
Okay. You ready?
Give me the timestamp again.
Oh, 125:45.
This changes everything we know about tinnitus.
Got an ad. Fuck ads.
Neurologists have found that tinnitus
is lying for clout.
Stream.
She's telling the truth.
Okay, 45. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
At least in the latter part. She is lying that she supports non-binary people for clout. And she's not just lying that she supports non-binary people. She's obscuring the fact. She's being incredibly two-faced about the fact that she is ridiculing a lot.
Okay.
I think that substantiates the claim pretty nicely.
Okay.
Do you agree?
The claim being that President Sunday is claiming that she does not support trans people. We're going to jump back to 51:01, and we can see on the screen, non-binary people are obviously real. Sunday again presents this as evidence, or part of this is evidence that, again, Brianna Wu says or is just lying for clout in private. I'm assuming we're going to continue and it's going to be something worse, but we'll see, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the claims he makes kind of stack up from him.
Fair enough.
Okay, ready?
I'm ready. Go.
Okay.
NB people are obviously real. It says that they are in the same SOC we used to transition. Now what's interesting is I think this is actually out of order. Here we go. This is where it continues. Right. So I mean, if you're... The person who sent them did not send them in order, so we're going to have to figure it out a little bit as we go. So she says in response to, once again, this picture of Benny from the Young Turks. I mean, if you're not super hot, maybe just dress normally and don't present yourself as a transvestite. You can go a long way with just being skinny and dressing normally.
I'm just going to say to the audience again, remember, none of this is redacted. None of these names are blocked. Again, that's important to remember for name later, okay?
And then she
he
says,
took no effort
people
to
like Benny honestly disgust me aesthetically, ethically, politically. Top to bottom. Just
what timestamp are you up to?
We are at 51:52.
Okay.
Can I continue?
Yeah, no, I'm yeah.
I'm hitting.
I'm going to put this as delicately as I can, Brianna. Because I do have standards. If I were you, if I was going to wade into the arena of insulting people on the basis of their personal appearance, I would tread lightly.
Okay, pause.
Okay.
So I think the implication of that is pretty clear, and I think Sunday is doing the exact same thing that he is accusing Brianna of in these DMs of making cruel remarks about a trans woman's physical appearance. Only me and Brianna kept our comments, not Cactus, but me and Brianna kept our comments to how Benny was dressed, whereas Sunday has just kind of made a vague blanket statement about how Brianna looks. Or an implication, should we say?
An implication.
In his in his comment just there.
Okay, so the dishonesty here, as you're claiming, as I understand it, is that he holds Brianna Wu to one standard, claiming that her comments mocking the looks of a trans woman is enough evidence or part of enough evidence to point to how she does not support non-binary people and that she's cruel, and he himself is insulting Brianna Wu's looks. But
pretty
he
much,
does not hold the same standard. Is that what you're going with for this portion?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Let me know when you're ready to go.
Sure. Let's go.
Top to bottom, just dreadful. Imagine giving up a gig as a political commentator with a legit news organization to go and LARP as a Twitter communist posting cringy 2017 tier shit. I don't know what that means. But that's true. Like, Benny's been absolutely falling apart online recently. The Stalin defenses are not doing her any good. Not a smart cookie. But then she says, "Can I ask you a real question?" Yeah, go for it. Benny talks about learning she was trans on Facebook, looking at what advertisers thought she was. I cannot imagine this. When did y'all know?
You can really tell that he's just been sent these very quickly, and he's just desperate to get them out on stream. He's just throwing them all into MS Paint.
I mean,
no order.
I'm not going to judge him for the scuff nature of the... I mean, that's fair.
God, the ordering of this is so bad. When did y'all know? We might have a gap there, that's possible. But that's fine. So I think it ends there for that section. I think we're going to come back to that in the next section. I think we have a lot more that sort of loops a little bit as we go forward. That's Jenny Matrix who said that last thing, by the way. That wasn't Wu, the gig thing.
You're famous.
Apparently.
So here we go. Oh, I think this is it, actually. Like, obviously, you're getting a lot of very autogynephilic ads. You have a condition, but I can't imagine basing such a huge life decision on what an advertisement platform thought I was, or else I'd be in cooking class and buying a German vehicle right now. I always knew, but y'all are actual transsexuals. That's woo. I always knew, but y'all are actual transsexuals. Did you know early on, or am I being
pause.
too hard?
Okay.
So I'm not really sure why Sunday paused here or what the implication of that was supposed to be, but he clearly thought it meant something because he repeated it twice. But y'all are actual transsexuals. Do you have any thoughts of why he would say that? Do you think it's just the use of the term transsexual that
Yes,
he
I
has a
think he
problem with?
was implying that Brianna Wu doesn't think Benny is an actual trans person. That was the implication I got from this portion of the leak.
I read this differently. I think she said, I think she was referring to her affinity with the term transgender over the term transsexual. She says, I always knew, but y'all are actual transsexuals. I think the contrast there is between Brianna viewing herself as transgender, but she knows that some of us in the chat, including the people who she was talking to in that conversation, who she knew were active then, prefer the term transsexual to refer to ourselves.
That's fine. Yeah, I don't see an issue with that.
Okay. Yeah, so let's just play. I'm at 54:29.
I'm at 54:30, so.
Okay.
We good?
And go. Yep.
And the German vehicle, which is only from me breaking down and Googling what Porsches were, which is because of you, Brianna. Okay, it's great. It isn't really a descriptive term, but a political identity, and its objective is to turn gender into a matter of pure individualism. How do you square that with those same academics doing things like WPATH? It proposes that gender is really just a matter of self-identification, which should be uncoupled from the biological reality it came from. Did Marxist feminists found WPATH?
Okay, so let's pause this
Perhaps
for
they
just a
did.
second.
Okay.
So in this bit, he covers a short exchange between me and Brianna, where the beginning has been mostly clipped away and the early parts of the conversation can't be seen. And why she brought up the WPATH SOC, that's the World Professional Association for Trans Healthcare, I think. The SOC is standards of care, so it's like the standards that this organization proposed should be used to treat trans people. And the reason that she brought that up was because of a claim that I made about the origins of modern gender theory. And I think a lot of the conversation kind of stems from a bit of a miscommunication there.
Okay.
There is a kind of implication that Brianna's acceptance of non-binary people only stems from the fact that they have some medical recognition, including in this document, this WPATH standards of care. But that's not really true. The reason that she brought that up was because she was responding to me, who she knows I am a transmedicalist, and she believed that sending that would be evidence that I might be more likely to believe. Not because...
Wait. So, okay. She was actually arguing with you because you are a transmedicalist, right? So she was arguing against you, and she posted that to argue against you, to actually support non-binary people, transgender people, etc.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Sunday is pointing this out as evidence that she's doing the exact opposite?
Yeah, absolutely. Like Sunday, Sunday didn't present this in the way that it actually happened. This was my interactions with Brianna in this chat tend to be arguing about trans positions. I am far more of a transmedicalist, and I think I'm probably the most transmed person in that chat. Maybe there is someone.
Well, you guys can fight about who's the most transmedical later.
Anyway, Brianna is way on the other side of this. Like Brianna like supports non-binary people, supports the use of all sorts of pronoun stuff that I don't agree with. I have big issues with myself. I'm very open about that. But this interaction is not her agreeing with me by any means. She is disagreeing with me because she supports non-binary people, even in these private spaces, these apparent transmedicalist evil secret group chats where she's voicing all her real opinions,
Put a pin in this, gang. This is important to come back to because this will play into the harassment that's received later, is continuously received. Again, one of the claims that Sunday has made is that Brianna Wu is either a transmedicalist or is somehow I don't know, like a transmedicalist enabler, sympathetic to a lot of transmedicalist causes, wherein
he describes her views as transmedicalist. I have a clip of that.
You have a clip of that? Can you give me the clip?
Yeah, sure. I can give you the timestamp. It's in this video.
We're at 55:03 right now. Where are we going?
Yeah, sure. So the timestamp is, let's go 1:18:10.
Okay, you ready?
You can help
I got an
save a
ad.
baby's
Oh my
life for
god,
just
I
$1
hate
a
ads.
day. Saving Moses has.
Okay, here we
She's
go.
not unique in this.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
𝕬𝖎𝖙 is an extremely common occurrence. There are a lot of people who are doing this. The Young Turks did this for a little while. In fact, I would be very surprised if her transmedicalist positions aren't directly a consequence of her recognizing that ultimately the most valuable stocks that she has are in the
Transmedicalist
Young
positions.
Turks.
Transmedicalist positions. Again, implying that these are the views, just if I may, that these are the views, because I want to connect this both for me and my audience, so I understand. Again, he's claiming that she's a transmedicalist or holds transmedicalist views, and the evidence which he's using, again, to support that claim, is her arguing with a transmedicalist in a group chat and posting 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖙 in order to perhaps convince you that non-binary and transgender identities are also valid, just like transmedical, more transsexual things are also valid. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Where are we going back? 50, what was it? 55:03 or something? We right?
I was hoping you'd remember.
I think 55:03.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay. Are we ready to go?
Yep.
To it. And I think Wu provides this article here. Then we have the battle over, I don't know what that is, gender or something. Found, no, but they are involved, and they are not always as helpful. They are not always helpful as illustrated above. It's a very long article. Can I get a TLDR on the relevant parts? Sure. Marxists within 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖙 threw a fit about compromising. Namely, it's been a while since I read it, but it's basically the tension between the fact that a lot of trans stuff is under-researched. There's a whole chapter in the SIC for non-binary people, apparently. SOC. In the SOC. Jenny says, I'm not really sure what this has to do with my point, to be honest. And then we have the article here. Gender nonconformity refers to the extent to which a person's gender identity, role, or expression differs from the cultural norms prescribed for people of a particular sex. Gender dysphoria refers to discomfort or distress that is caused by a discrepancy between a person's gender identity and that person's sex assigned at birth, and the associated gender role and or primary and secondary sex characteristics. Only some gender nonconforming people experience gender dysphoria at some point in their lives. Treatment is available to assist people with such distress to explore their gender identity and find a gender role that is comfortable for them. Now, she interprets this in a rather strange way. So she says, you were criticizing academics, and I was pointing out that it was the researchers at 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖏 and Benjamin's before that helped medicalize transsexualism. Didn't 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖏 add eunuch?
Okay.
So here it's pretty clear that she is disagreeing with me. She's pointing out.
Yep.
Yeah, she misinterprets what I was saying. I clarify at the end of the exchange that as we'll see in a minute, but she misinterpreted my point as to mean that it was, what was it? She thought that I was talking about how academics generally, or that academia as kind of a monolith, was pushing this view. But I clarify, well, no, it's a very specific part of academia who is pushing this. And she was using these people who helped to medicalize transsexualism from within academia, the 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖏 people, people like Benjamin, she mentions. They themselves include it in their own standards of care, right? So if you're a transmedicalist, if you support the views of these organizations, these medical views of transitioning, then you are also disagreeing with the same people who are pushing those standards. So there's kind of a bit of a contradiction there. If you follow that. It was a misinterpretation.
I think the details of your argument are unimportant at this
Yeah,
point.
that's true. That's true.
It just
Anyway,
matter.
yeah.
I'm not here to relitigate your all's
For sure.
Right?
For sure, yeah. I shouldn't even
It's all
mention
good.
that.
It's all good. Keep going.
Okay, keep playing, yep.
And neopronoun bullshit. Not that I can see. Academia isn't a monolith, and I'm not claiming it is. Fair enough. Point I was making is that the Tumblr stuff you see today can be traced back directly to the gender theory of the 1990s put forward by the likes of Marxists like Feinberg. So that's all very boring.
It's true. It is.
That's pretty boring. This is page 1. There's a reason why we're looking at this first. Oh, here we go. So she says, non-binary people, inserted sort of into the middle here. Non-binary people are obviously real. This is referring to...
Depression.
I gotta add. Give me a second.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, ad's over.
This one here,
Sure.
right, of course.
What time stamp are you at?
So this
Oh, I'm at 57:23. That good?
Okay, yep.
Continue.
Yep.
person says non-binary people are not real. Can we just admit that? Da-da-da-da. And then Wu replies, to her credit, non-binary people are obviously real.
Pause for a second.
Okay.
So if you look at the timestamps here, you can actually see that Sunday is wrong about the flow of this conversation. If you look above, you'll see there's a reply from somebody
3:03
else
PM.
who wasn't the last person at 3:03 p.m. And Wu's response comes even later than that, whereas the previous message came, I think, at least an hour before then.
Okay.
So he's just, I think this, I don't actually have access to the chat anymore. It's kind of fallen apart and it's just gone. But if it just kind of shows the lack of actual structure that Sunday has in his argument. He's just tying things together as he kind of sees things, or as he wants to see things, rather than how they actually are.
Understood.
Yeah, I feel like we're taking way too long on this. I'm being too slow, so I'll try and speed it up.
Fair enough.
Do you want to go to 1.5 times speed?
Give me a second. Settings. Playback speed 1.5. I'm there, and I'm at 57:33. Are you ready?
Yes. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
The same as a series transition. What's not clear is the best course of action. What's not clear is what the best course of action is for them. The same SOC says they need to discover a gender role that fits them. I'm not sure how to square that with a mission which is basically abolish gender, and I think they are 2 pages out of a 120-page document, which makes them grabbing the steering wheel aggressively.
So yeah, pause here. So she is again arguing that, she's again using an argument she thinks is going to appeal to me as a transmedicalist, saying that within this document there are, within this document pushed by transmedicalist organizations or medical trans organizations, suggesting that non-binary people do exist. So it makes sense that you should support it. It suggests there is strong clinical evidence for the existence of non-binary people. I disagree with this, but that is what she is saying, and she's only used. Yeah. Okay.
So she's actually sticking up for non-binary people here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm
And
watching
again,
this in a.
I want to reiterate because we have to remember the claims being made here that Sunday has made over and over and over again is that Brianna Wu does not actually support non-binary people in private. And again, this is part of the evidence that he has used to showcase that Brianna Wu does not actually support non-binary people in private. And yet, as testimony from Jenny here suggests, as the log itself suggests, as we can see it in the context, that she is not only supporting non-binary people by saying obviously non-binary people are real, but also using arguments to try to convince people who think otherwise that they are real. If that is not support, I don't know what that is. So again, for Sunday to showcase this and use this and suggest and imply that this is the case is just a flat out deceptive lie. There is no better way to put it. There is no easier way to put it. He is lying when he tells you this. He doesn't believe this. He knows. He's not stupid, okay? He knows that this is a lie. This is absolutely a lie that he has claimed over and over and over again. And why has he claimed these things over and over and over again? Well, because he doesn't like Brianna Wu's politics. That's it at strict. That's it. That's it. He again, feels slighted by 𝕵𝖎𝖎 and wants to target her and harass her. And he has led targeted. And again, if he is using this stream to label her as someone who is a liar and a hypocrite, first of all, someone who is a transmedicalist, which we saw earlier, and also someone who does not support non-binary people. These are things he has claimed publicly over and over again. And once again, the evidence presented not only does not say that or does not suggest that, but instead suggests the exact opposite. Okay, sorry for that rant, but I think it's very important to drive this home. Okay?
Sure. I'm at 57:47.
57:47? I'm a little ahead of there, but let's get back to it. I'm at 57:49. Is that okay?
Yep, that's fine.
Mission, which is basically abolish gender, and I think they are 2 pages out of a 120-page document, which makes them grabbing the steering wheel aggressive. So the issue 𝕵𝖎𝖎 is having right now. Oh, Sunday does not. This is some great crime. You'll see in the next section. Don't worry. We're taking this slow. We're taking this really slow. So what we're looking at here is representative of a general attitude. Non-binary people are grabbing the steering wheel. Gender non-conforming people are grabbing the steering wheel. People who don't fit into an easy trans man, trans woman categorization, they're grabbing the steering wheel. They're taking control, and that's a bad thing. That is a bad thing. We need limits, after all.
Okay, pause. So what 𝕵𝖎𝖎 was saying here was not that at all. He kind of implies that he's saying that she's saying, Sunday implies that 𝕵𝖎𝖎 is saying that non-binary people taking control of the trans movement is a problem. What she is saying here is not that at all. Non-binary people are predominantly people who don't medically transition. They have different priorities for people who are medically transitioning. So, and even when you have a community all under one umbrella, it should be pretty obvious that there are going to be disagreements over the best direction for trans advocacy. And because of this huge growth of non-binary people in recent years and these kind of differences in what people think are the best direction for the trans movement to go in, and the fact that the majority of people of advocacy now seems to be supporting non-binary people rather than the needs, the like medical needs and acceptance of binary trans people, that's kind of what 𝕵𝖎𝖎's getting at here. It's she calls it aggressive. She doesn't say that non-binary people shouldn't have a say in the trans movement, that they shouldn't be advocated for or anything like that. It's just about this kind of slight disconnect between these two groups under one umbrella. But she isn't advocating for getting rid of the umbrella at all.
Yes. I mean, anyone with a brain can see that. Anyone that isn't ideological captured or just lying. I mean, it's clear, even just from reading these directly, right? Even without the context. It's just, that's how it reads. Again, it has to be framed and presented in a dishonest way for people to come to a different conclusion. Or you're just skimming it, not paying attention. You're just, again, believing the commentator that you're hearing it from. But fair enough. Okay. Are we good?
For sure.
Continue?
Yep.
I'm at 58:41. Are we good?
Yep.
Okay.
Here's where it gets interesting. This is section 2. Trans people have spent the last 30 years using our struggle as a... Sorry, these people have spent the last 30 years using our struggle as a sort of legitimate front to push their ideology with no regard for our struggles. So this is a transgender equals trans.
I didn't.
That's what teach equals.
I was disagreeing with Cactus here.
Okay.
Well, that's how Virginia Pierce used it in the 70s, but it's been an umbrella term for most of its life, especially since it became widespread. Transsexuals voice train because they want to fit in with other women. Transgenders
again,
don't
not
voice
gonna
train
defend
because
that.
what even is a female voice bro? Lol, lol, lol. And here we go. This is 𝕵𝖎𝖎. In reply to Jenny Matrix. Let me double check. Let's make sure I'm not misrepresenting her. It's important. It's very important. It is. Okay. Look, I'm just speaking really honestly here, heterodox stakes. Probably too honestly. Probably, as we'll see. But I now recognize leftist culture was always going to take us here. I said nothing about the BLM riots because I...
So I said nothing about the BLM riots because I didn't want the trouble. Now, people have taken this a certain way. They've taken... 𝕵𝖎𝖎's been accused of being a racist on Twitter because of this. It's quite funny, actually. I have some tweets that people have made about that. She very specifically talks about the BLM riots. And the reason why she doesn't want to talk about it or why she didn't want the trouble was because people will interpret you saying anything vaguely negative towards one of these movements, one of these like progressive movements or results of a progressive movement or progressive affiliated thing, they will kind of accuse you of being racist or sexist or homophobic or transphobic or anything like that. And that is what this whole exchange is about. This is what she means when she says leftist culture. She was responding to a comment that I made about like the nature of transness, how it's changed, whatever, and how it's now more about like purity politics within the leftist and progressive movement. And how the silence of people within the movement has kind of led to that development, and that's why we have what we have now.
I mean, that's not only true, but she has said this publicly. This isn't a secret. She's tweeted about this. She said this on my show. She said that the trans Twitter is cancer on my show. Like, again, this isn't private. This isn't new. This isn't different. This isn't special. This is just what she believes. Now, you can disagree, and that's fine. But again, to imply that the implication that this means she doesn't, maybe there's more. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I just want to say one more thing quickly.
Please.
Like, it is really funny how that comment she made about the BLM riots kind of became a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? She said she didn't talk about it at the time because she didn't want the trouble. And now she's got people in her mentions giving her trouble for it, even though she never said anything about BLM itself or the George Floyd protests. It was specifically the BLM riots that she didn't speak up about, and now she's been accused by multiple people of being racist because of that. So it's just a funny little self-fulfilling prophecy, I think, leaking that. It kind of underlines the point that she's making about this trend within leftist culture and progressive politics.
Okay.
Okay, I'm at 1 hour 40 seconds.
I'm at 1 hour 35. Cool?
Okay. Yeah, sure.
You ready? Go.
I didn't want the trouble. And I said nothing when Tanky started taking over the party because I didn't want trouble. And I said nothing when they took over trans stuff and said you didn't need to have dysphoria to be trans. And I'm looking at where we are, and it's just like my silence led us here. All of ours did.
Ads, hold on.
It's made very, very cool.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, ads done.
We did it.
She made a couple of comments about Tankies here that I thought were kind of strange.
I'll pause it.
Okay.
I'm at 101.07. Go on.
Yeah, she made a couple of comments about Tankies here that I thought was strange, but I think this was just sloppy wording because, as I mentioned at the beginning, these are group chats where there's like an expectation of privacy, so people aren't super specific with their wording. I think she meant to say movement and not party. I don't know why she said Tankies taking over the party because, obviously Tankies are not taking over the Democratic Party. That would be a ridiculous thing to say. So are you ready yet? You passed the ad?
I'm at 101.07.
Okay, cool.
Good?
And go, yep.
But if we don't stop this bullshit, leftism will die. I think because I'm old enough to remember when we moved away from transsexual, I'm a bit more nuanced. You have to remember, daytime TV was obsessed with the sex in transsexual, so it was trying to water that down. I do think that as transgender doesn't mean anything clinically anymore. It makes sense to bring it back.
Okay, pause. So, transgender doesn't mean anything clinically anymore. This is like a factually true statement. She's referring to the demedicalization of transgender, which is something that Sunday himself advocates for. One of the most common messages that you hear about trans stuff is, oh, you don't need to medically transition to be trans. You don't need hormones. You don't need dysphoria. It's about making transgender a non-clinical term. But now, what we're talking about here is the fact that since the number of transgender people who don't medically transition now outnumber the number of transgender people who do medically transition, there is a kind of need to distinguish between those people. So that's what we're talking about here. And this doesn't mean that anyone opposes the transgender umbrella. I mean, I do personally, but it's not what Brianna is saying here. It's not why she's bringing it up. It's not because of that. It's just because there is a growing need to recognize that there is a difference between these groups and we need language to describe it. That is all that's being said here. And it's kind of being taken to mean that she does want to get rid of transgender and replace it with transsexual. But that just isn't true.
Though President Sunday is implying that this here means that Brianna Wu is wanting to remove transgender and replace it with transsexual. However, as your claim here is that that's not at all what she was saying. That she was saying we need to have transsexual back as a term to distinguish between those who need medical care and transition and those who do not desire or seek it. Is that accurate?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I fail to. Well, maybe he'll explain why this is bad, but that seems reasonable to me. But let's go. You ready?
Yeah, the most annoying thing about these leaks is how boring they are, frankly. Like, there's a little bit of catty behavior, and
Sure.
then, like, other than that, it's just some pretty bland conversations about trans stuff that no one outside
this is the most boring of things to go over, but the lies that have been spread about this are important. This is why I'm hosting this, right? Because, again, the lies and how this has been represented to the public at large is so far beyond what it actually was. And again, this is due directly to President Sunday's implications, deceptions, and lies. Again, misrepresenting things as one thing when they mean the exact opposite. And we saw that earlier, right? Yeah, it's important to just go over this. So maybe this is boring to you, but it's important. You ready to continue? I'm at 101.33.
Yeah, sure, let's go.
Okay.
Oh. And this is her in this transmedicalist channel, slightly out of order, asking them in particular to come join the dog pile on 𝕵𝖎𝖎.
Okay, pause.
She just...
Okay.
Do you have the comment that 𝕵𝖎𝖎 actually said on screen right now?
I don't.
What it says?
Let me get
it. It says, "Get in, losers. We're starting drama with 𝕵𝖎𝖎 on 𝕵𝖎𝖎." Now, Sunday is too uncultured, I suppose, to recognize a Mean Girls reference when he sees one. What 𝕵𝖎𝖎 is doing is making a joke. She is not actually calling for us to engage in a dog pile on 𝕵𝖎𝖎. Okay, that is a ridiculous claim. If she was encouraging us to make a dog pile on 𝕵𝖎𝖎, why would she post a screenshot with no visible URL in it, not provide a link to the post we're apparently supposed to be dogpiling, and why would she post it in a chat where she knows most of us don't even have 𝕵𝖎𝖎 accounts? There is no evidence that any kind of dogpile occurred, but Sunday uses this as proof, and he states this again later on, that 𝕵𝖎𝖎 was encouraging a dogpile on 𝕵𝖎𝖎, as if we're using this chat to organize harassment against people, which is an absurd claim.
Do you have a
completely
link
baseless
to that claim when he says that? Do you have a timestamp for that?
He just made it. He just said, and this is her in this transmedicalist chat asking them in particular to come and join in a dog pile on 𝕵𝖎𝖎.
Fair enough. We just heard it, gang. Okay, are you ready to keep going? I'm at 102.01.
Yeah, sure. And let's go.
Well, we saw that one. Let me pop that up again for people who are coming in a little bit late.
I'm going to pause it real quick to have a comment. So we're at 102.26. Again, if anyone thinks this is directing harassment to post a screenshot of an exchange you had, again, not a recording, not a bunch of things, but a screenshot of, I'm having an altercation with this person, look at what they're saying, that's stupid. If you think that that's calling for a dogpile or harassment, seek mental help. You are unable to deal with reality. You have no cognitive ability to separate fantasy and fiction, and you are a victim of your delusions and need medical therapeutic help. So please stop watching now and go get that. Okay, can we continue?
Yeah, I just want to say one thing quickly about this, which is like through his own inaction, through not redacting any of the leaks, through saying our names multiple times in the stream, people who are unrelated to the point that he's trying to make, which is that 𝕵𝖎𝖎 is some duplicitous backstabber, basically, who's throwing non-binary people under the bus. He claims that's why he's leaking it, but he doesn't make any effort to hide our names. He says them multiple times, doesn't tell his audience not to go after us or anything. And in fact, ended up liking a bunch of the responses that
we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Yeah, we're gonna get to the harassment part here, but
it's interesting that he thinks that these clips conversations, which he interprets as transmedicalist, in a private group chat are valid grounds for that harassment to happen. But his condemnation of this imaginary dogpile of 𝕵𝖎𝖎 indicates that he kind of thinks 𝕵𝖎𝖎's actions don't warrant any such response. Which I mean. You tell me what's worse, being a transmedicalist or being a tanky who denies genocide.
And again, once again, though, 𝕵𝖎𝖎 Wu is not a transmedicalist, or at least I have yet to see any evidence that she is a transmedicalist. Cool. We good?
Yep.
102.26 is what I'm at.
Yeah, I think the next like minute or so is pretty boring. I don't think Sunday actually says anything.
Well,
really,
I guess we'll find
so...
out. Let's play it and see. It's at 1.5
yeah, sure.
times speed, so.
Yeah, yeah. I think he shows a couple of things that don't actually show anything, really.
Oh, it doesn't like that. Hang on. Let's open this in Paint again. This is Wu responding to Benny. If you're not super hot, maybe just dress normally and don't present yourself as a transvestite.
Again,
Yeah, you're right
same
about
claim,
this. Is nothing.
completely
this
false.
Is nothing. Okay.
And over the whole world,
I gotta
goes the
add.
promise,
Hold on.
of joy.
World War One.
Somebody, hey gang,
promised
if you're
us
liking
a-
this, give me money so I don't have to have ads
So here
anymore.
she is asking these people in particular to jump in on that. Stop projecting onto other people immediately projects onto 𝕾𝖍𝖎. I'm assuming this is commentary from the Blue Sky conversation. That bitch is fucking crazy. I really think trans Twitter is as terrible as Gamergate, and it's the same on Blue Sky. I don't know. If you're not post-op, I think the worries are more legitimate. I personally would not care, but I don't think it's crazy. Read that one again. So we left off. I do think that as transgender doesn't mean anything clinically anymore. It makes sense to bring it back. The sex element, the sex focus.
Is it still playing?
Yeah, it's still going. It's just he hasn't.
Oh my god.
We're at 104.50, by the way.
Oh wait, I thought you were watching your ad.
Oh no, I'm at 104.50.
No, I'm still.
Okay, sorry about that. Again, I told you, gang,
103.45.
excuse the technical difficulties here. That's all on me. I'm a boomer
Oh my
when this
God.
comes to this
Okay.
stuff. So yeah.
All right, so I'm at 103.45. You ready?
And tomfoolery, this is with the direct permission, I should say, of the people whose messages were leaked. So don't go over leaked messages. Again, the victims of the leak are here, and they are going over it with me. This is something I have received consent for. Cool? Cool. I'm at 104.53. We good?
103.45.
103.45. Let me go back there for you. Okay. You ready?
Yep.
Okay, go.
So, actually, wait. Go back a tiny bit further. Sorry. Like 103, about 30.
103.30.
Yeah.
Okay. You ready?
Yep.
So here she is asking these people in particular to jump in on that. Stop projecting onto other people immediately projects onto 𝕾𝖍𝖎.
Okay, so pause for a second. So, like, again, he imagines the idea that this is the same conversation, but it's clearly not. If you check the timestamps, it's very different. And also, if he looked at what was being replied to, he would have seen it was very different. And he focuses on a comment that 𝕵𝖎𝖎 makes here, saying, I really think trans Twitter is as terrible as Gamergate. And she says this in reference to the fact that a large subset of people involved in this engage in targeted harassment campaigns against anyone they don't like, up to and including sending death threats. And in this response, in this respect, she is completely correct. And like the response that we received from these leaks kind of proves that.
Noted.
So yeah, that's the point of this.
Fair
the point
enough.
I want to make here.
Are we good to go?
Yep.
The Blue Sky conversation, that bitch is fucking crazy. I really think trans Twitter is as terrible as Gamergate, and it's the same on Blue Sky. I don't know. If you're not post-op, I think the worries are more legitimate. I personally would not care, but I don't think it's crazy. Read that one again. So we left off. I do think that as transgender doesn't mean anything clinically anymore. It makes sense to bring it back. The
Okay, again, pause.
sex element. The
Pause.
So I'm at 104.40.
104.43, but
Okay, so he talks about how we're focusing on the sex element of all of this, which like we are, but for the reason is, as previously mentioned, that it's the difference between people who do transition and people who don't medically transition, right? It's about differentiating those experiences and just having language to explain that. He kind of implies that doing this is bad, but he never actually makes a case for why it is. He just kind of assumes his audience are going to nod along and agree with him. It's all about the implication rather than actually basing his claims in fact, really.
Noted.
So, yeah, I'm going to hit play now.
Sex focus and transsexual.
This is just personal stuff, this bit. I don't know why he included it at all.
So, here. I don't know how to hype you up for the scholarship, to be honest. I think you should. You're a woman, you have the opportunity to move up in the world, and if you don't believe it, you are viewed as a woman and treated as such by the person who recommended it to you. This nonsense about, I'm taking it from an actual woman, quote-unquote, is just brainworms and faux moral panic shit. Brandon says, I get it, I really do. I was homeless when I transitioned, but I would not be able to do what I do now if I have done sex work. There's just a lot of life ahead. This is about sex work, incidentally. So replying to 𝕵𝖎𝖎, but at the same time, y'all, is this really what you want to be defined as? No matter what you do in your career from here, this is why people are going to attack you. This is what people are going to attack you with. I mean, I've always worked in this kind of industry when I'm not a maid. My first real job was at Adam and Eve, and I was told straight up I was hired because of blind chasers. Lovely.
This bit just doesn't really show anything. It's mostly just personal information, details about people's lives.
Yeah, again, not redacted, just shown up. Again, if
panel, but obviously I don't agree with.
I'm going to pause it. I'm at 106.20. But again, this is important to show the callous disregard that for people's personal lives and personal details about their lives that they may not want public because this is a private thing. And again, in his eagerness to target 𝕵𝖎𝖎, he has, again, without redacting anything, shown like that person that was talking about being in sex work. Do they want that known publicly? I don't know. I doubt Sunday does. But now we all do. Does anyone else understand? Again, we've seen what Sunday has tried to paint here dishonestly, and we've been over some of that. But showcase that in juxtaposition with the total callous disregard. The actual, and we'll demonstrate it later, harassment that doing all this with no redactions has, again, led towards the members of this group chat, not just 𝕵𝖎𝖎, but others as well. And we'll get the screenshots of that for you soon, but we're going to go over this. We're taking this step by step. Okay, I'm done with my rant. We're at 106.20. You ready?
Great, yep.
Turn transports. I don't know what that panel is, so I don't know what that means. Where I'm legitimately confused is what the kindest course of action is. There's almost no science on health outcomes. This is just an odd one.
Okay, pause.
Being pierced.
So, I mean, this is just true. I mean, again, this is kind of taken as vague evidence of 𝕵𝖎𝖎 being like a transmedicalist. But all she's saying here is, where I'm legitimately confused is what the kindest course of action is. Like, okay, what's wrong with vague confusion? And the fact that, like, the factual statement that there is not a lot of science about the health outcomes here. Like, there is just, there's nothing really egregious about any of what's being said here. And it's not transmedicalist either, which is...
Yes, it's again, the opposite of what's being portrayed as. Sunday has, again, over and over, implied publicly that 𝕵𝖎𝖎 is a transmedicalist. And again, this shows not that she is a transmedicalist, but in fact, that she is arguing against a transmedicalist with arguments that would perhaps convince or try to convince a transmedicalist. And the implication of that isn't that she's also a transmedicalist. The implication is absolutely the opposite. The implication here is that she disagrees with the transmedicalist. It is trying to change her opinion. Oh my God, I wish you motherfuckers would do more of that instead of just harassing them with death threats and trying to get them fucking fired. You could perhaps try to convince them. And Insomnia Noor, I see you. We'll get to the screenshots of the direct harassment you've made soon. Don't worry. You're on blast here, okay? We're going to get to the things that you've done soon. Don't worry. We got those recorded. We'll bring them up. Anyway, are we ready?
Yep.
1640?
Yep.
Okay. Female causes dysphoria, but being pierced male does not reduce or make it better, and they're kind of in a semi-depressed gender limbo, where presenting angio is the closest they can get to legit relief of mental strife. That's really interesting and sad. I think socially I have no issue respecting their pronouns. Like the nippleless top surgery fad seems like a massive red flag. Yeah. I hate them for pushing the pronoun bullshit so far. Fair, it's insanity.
Okay, pause.
Yeah, I got an ad, so give me a second.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay, paused. Good.
Okay, so 107.14.
107.13, but fair enough.
Okay, yeah, sure. So, yeah, so Brianna says here, I have no issue respecting their pronouns, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then Cactus brings up two things, nippleless top surgery and neopronouns. And Brianna kind of vaguely agrees that, oh, sorry, she brings up pronoun stuff or the pronoun bullshit or whatever it is she says. And it's just, what it demonstrates is just two very specific issues that Brianna has here. It's nippleless top surgery and neopronouns, and that's it. Or pronoun stuff, which, you can take that to mean whatever you want, I guess. Just vague pronoun. I don't even know what you want to call it. But it's the implication is that this is an inherent attack on non-binary people, and it's just not. Like, that nothing here says I do not support non-binary people from Brianna. It's just reading things that aren't there, basically.
Again, this isn't an accident. I want to reiterate this. This isn't an accident. This is something that Sunday is purposefully doing. Again, we're... if you trust Sunday after this, and again, we're going to keep going. There's more. I don't know what to tell you. This is a pattern of repeated behavior that he is engaged in, and we are seeing live now on screen how he has purposely deceived, lied, and misrepresented over and over and over again, taking things that are the exact opposite of what he's implying and saying that, oh, look, she's a transmedicalist, when in fact, no, she's arguing against a transmedicalist. He's either retarded, which he might be, or he's deceptive and purposely lying. $5 from Parallax. I ordered my Wick Spicy tonight, and I got it. Y'all better watch out, because I'm angry. I do not like people who go after and attack with vicious lies people that don't deserve it, right? If this had just been Brianna Wu, that would be one thing. But again, I want to point out to the callous disregard of the people he showed to every single person around her, because these people, let's be real, do not care about trans people. President Sunday is J.K. Rowling's strongest warrior. J.K. Rowling is sitting back, clapping, cheering this on, saying, you have done more for me than Brianna Wu ever could. You have targeted, harassed, and led and tried to get fired trans people, right? Like, let's be real here with who is the villain in this story. Let's be real, okay? But we'll continue. Are you ready?
Yeah, sure.
107.13. Let's go.
Yep.
And here we go. Lol, 𝕾𝖎𝖎, you remember 𝕬𝖎, we talked to 𝕬𝖎 before, started a shitstorm tonight. 𝕬𝖎 came up. This is in a GC. I don't know what group chat this is, but apparently there's another group chat. 𝕬𝖎 came up and I repeated your very plausible position that it pronouns are about a degradation fetish. This is Wu. This is Brianna.
Okay, pause for a second here.
Okay.
So
Demon Mom.
Brianna is not saying that she agrees with the position. She's saying that 𝕬𝖎 presented it to her and she thinks it's plausible. That's kind of it.
Well, she's saying that
it's again
no,
the
no,
implication.
That's not exactly true, because if we rewind it, and I want to be, again, I don't want to be inaccurate here. I want to make sure this is very accurate. And I'll rewind it just a tid so we can see it, because that's so. What was said was, LOL, 𝕬𝖎𝖎 started a shitstorm tonight. 𝕬𝖎 came up and I repeated your very plausible position that it pronouns are about a degradation fetish. So again, 𝕬𝖎 didn't make that. Brianna Wu,
it was 𝕬𝖎's
repeated
position.
this.
And Brianna thinks it's plausible. It's not an outright saying, "Oh yeah, I agree with this 100%." I'm not. I don't think it's like signing off on it completely. I think kind of painting it that way is pretty disingenuous, really.
Fair enough, but it was something Brianna Wu actually said. She repeated. It might not be her stance, but she repeated it.
Yeah,
so I think that's fair.
There's no context provided for how it was repeated, though.
Sure, I don't know
we don't
if
know
it
what
was repeated in a negative way or a positive way or anything like that, but she does call it very plausible.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we ready to go on? I'm at 107.47. We good?
Sure. Yep.
Demon Mama is in the group chat, and I didn't know they were dating, lol. Well, then the police came and it was all over. I mean, then I asked what she did for a living. That also didn't go over well. Not she, they. And then apparently this is the only group chat with a good T-stars. I don't know why we even included that. And then here, 𝕵𝖎 didn't detransition because they still consider themselves trans, but agender and believe trans is an amorphous blob of a term that means a political statement against the societal concept of gender. But they have stopped taking hormones because they also believe hormones are a weapon of societal construct of gender assimilation, and hormones should be a tool to be played with, not a medical usage because all gender should be abolished. It's not entirely true. No, that is not well.
Okay, pause for just a second here. So yeah, this message about 𝕵𝖎, the first one, I don't think that's true. I think that's a weird claim. The implication here, as well as that 𝕵𝖎𝖎 is signing off on this and saying, oh, okay, well, 𝕵𝖎 is unwell. This is something that Sunday says specifically later. That 𝕵𝖎𝖎 is calling non-binary people unwell behind their backs. She was responding to a specific description of a person who happens to be non-binary, and not even necessarily saying that that was a true statement, just saying that that was a description of somebody who sounds unwell. I don't think that's like an unreasonable thing to say. Like if somebody says, oh, you know, that person's like done X horrible thing, you're like, oh god, that's awful, that sounds really bad. You aren't wholesale agreeing with that as being true about that person. You're just saying, okay, that description is bad. That sounds bad if it's true. I think that's what's happening here.
It's like if I hear like, it's like, damn, that's crazy, right? Like when someone tells you that someone did something wrong, like, oh, did you hear that I don't know, did you hear that the 𝕾𝖍𝖎 killed all those people? Oh, damn, that's crazy. That's horrible if it happened. That's not, it's not saying I think that happened. That's not saying I agree with that happening. It's, damn, that's crazy. $20 from Temperate Takes. Now get rid of the ads. LOL. Thank you for the $20. I appreciate it. Okay, cool. You ready to keep on going?
Yeah, sure.
108.52?
Yep.
Let's go.
So, here's where we're at. Okay?
Oh, pause for just a second.
Okay, hold on.
So Sunday begins here. This is kind of his closing for this segment. So this is a kind of lengthy tirade against us where he pretends he's just posted some career-ending shit when in reality all he's got done is gone through some clips of nonsense in a private group chat that 99% of people would agree with if they actually understood the context it was in and the actual meaning being conveyed rather than Sunday's dogshit, bad faith interpretation of it. It doesn't contradict things that 𝕵𝖎𝖎 has said in public. She's been supportive of non-binary people like the whole time. She has some specific issues, yeah, sure. But nothing that was said in this chat was ever against like the fundamental concept of non-binary identity or supporting non-binary people or whatever. It's all just nothing, really. He makes some specific claims in his rant that we will go over as he makes them. So I'm at 109.09.
I'm at 109.08. It's close enough. You ready?
Okay, great. Yep, let's go.
Here's where we're at. The people who are running interference for 𝕵𝖎𝖎 are aware of this. This stuff is not secret. This may be a private group chat, but there are people here. This is not like some exclusive crowd. I think even 𝕻𝖎 is in this group. This stuff is just out there. It's brazen. And it would be one thing if this was somebody who was upfront about her positions. You'd have nothing more to say to her at that point. But I disagree with you. I think your positions are ill-founded. In fact, I think some of them are motivated by prejudice and bigotry. And I think recommending that we drop these people for political reasons, I think that's ill-founded.
I think recommending that we drop these people, meaning non-binary people, for political reasons is ill-founded. Where in those leaks did he substantiate the idea that 𝕵𝖎𝖎 wants to drop non-binary people for political reasons? Nowhere, because it was never said. Yeah. He just kind of relies on the implication of these clipped conversations to make his point for him. And that's, you know, as I said at the beginning, this is basically how this whole stream went. I'm going to see a few more claims that he makes where this is also true. So I'm going to play now.
I think it's not only ill-founded, I think it's going to have a perverse result. I think it's actually going to hurt the trans movement as a whole overall. That would be the discussion. The issue with this is that she's being disingenuous. While she is mocking non-binary people behind their backs and calling them unwell. And
again, pause. Mocking non-binary people behind their backs and calling them unwell. She was not mocking non-binary people. She called pronoun stuff insanity and said that, well, or actually, she didn't even say that. She said yeah to a comment that somebody else posted calling pronoun stuff insanity. And she wasn't calling non-binary people unwell either. She said one completely incorrect description of a non-binary person sounded like somebody who was unwell. That was it. And he's kind of extrapolating this and taking it to mean that she's saying non-binary people are unwell.
Wu did mock Benny. I mean,
Betty is not non-binary.
I don't know if Benny's non-binary or not, but
well, I have a clip of Benny saying that she is a trans woman. So
either way, even if she was non-binary, mocking a specific non-binary person isn't mocking non-binary people. That's what I want to kind of again stress here, that President Sunday, once again lying and saying she's mocking non-binary people, implying that it's the whole group, when instead it's one, maybe two people. Individuals. Again, they're not mocking the group, they're mocking you specifically. You specifically. Which,
yeah,
I don't know, is that wrong? It's uncouth, it's mean, but again, to imply that her making fun of Benny and maybe making, even if, let's grant that she was making fun of Doe. Let's grant that is mocking the non-binary movement and the non-binary group. That is insanity. To imply those things is insanity. It's dishonesty at a fundamental level. It's just incorrect. It's just not true. Are we ready to keep going? I'm at 110:31.
Yep.
And insisting on a return to medicalist definitions of being trans, which is what that is.
Okay, pause. Again, sorry. She never says this at all. There's no insistence on returning to medical definitions of being trans. There is a comment, there's a couple of comments where she says we should start using language that distinguishes between people who medically transition and people who don't. It's not saying getting rid of, it's not saying returning to a medicalist definition of being trans as a whole. It's just about having language that makes that distinction. That is all that was shown in this chat.
And once again, this is a direct lie. A direct lie. Saying that Brianna Wu wants to get rid or return to a transmedicalist definition is not only not supported by the evidence, but is contradicted by the evidence. Once again, the evidence being that Brianna Wu is arguing against a transmedicalist. The one here, Jenny Matrix, right? Arguing against and presenting evidence to suggest that not only are non-binary people real, but the W path takes them seriously and has things to say about it. Again, this is just so slimy. So slimy. Such dishonesty. Again, if you trust this man after this, I don't know what to tell you. This is just incorrect. Are we ready to keep going? And we're at 110:45.
Yep.
She's saying this. Just wanted to put on the record that I unequivocally support non-binary people, and anyone that says otherwise is lying for clout. Brianna Wu has just said in unequivocal terms that she doesn't support this. In fact, she sees Brianna Wu sees non-binary people as competing for control of the steering wheel. They need to be reined in.
Okay, pause. So, again, this is just kind of true, as we went over earlier. You know, transsexuals and those who aren't transitioning are obviously going to have some competition within the movement for control of what the narrative should be and what the correct direction for advocacy should be, because these groups have goals that don't always align with each other, and there's only ever a limited amount of political capital to go around. So I don't see what's so objectionable about this comment. It just seems true, like objectively on the face of it.
And again, this is all based on a single comment that certain groups are trying to take control of the steering wheel, and she's saying they're doing so in an aggressive manner. I mean, fair. They are, though, right? Like, they are. They're again, because Brianna Wu said something that they have spun to be negative about them. Again, it wasn't negative about them. They spun it to be negative about them. She is being targeted and harassed, and yeah, so we're gonna get to that. But are we ready to keep going? 1:11:23.
Yeah, we're right at the end now.
Okay.
There isn't much more to cover on this section.
Cool. Keep going. Are you ready?
Yep.
Go.
Problem. We need to return to saner metrics that insist upon sex binary defined ranges for trans identity.
So pause again. We need to return to saner metrics that insist on sex binary defined ranges for trans identity. It's the same claim again. It's just not true. This has never been said. And this
Bold
is
place, flat out lie.
Yeah, this is pretty much the last big claim I think that Sunday makes about what was said. I think he ends his rant here. I just received a message saying apparently I misgendered Benny earlier. I also misgendered Sunday, so I hope you understand that was not malicious. That was just me being kind of an idiot, and I apologize for that.
You apologize. I think we're good.
Yeah, I don't do these streams very often, so yeah, sorry. So
it's funny though, if I may. It's funny that they will use this as evidence that everything you said was just incorrect, while again ignoring the lies that we've demonstrated that Sunday has told. Closing their eyes, plugging their ears, la 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 la. This challenges my world beliefs and worldviews, and we are incapable of cognitively reckoning with the fact that maybe we've been duped. But fair enough.
Yeah. So that's about it for the big claims that Sunday makes. But let's go back to my original list of claims at the beginning.
Okay.
So things that Sunday has implied these DMs believe. So Brianna doesn't support non-binary people. Brianna wants to exclude non-binary people from the trans community for political reasons. That she is a transmedicalist. That she's lying about her positions on trans issues. Private and public stances on these issues are contradictory, and that she's using this group chat to coordinate harassment and bullying. Do you think any of those claims were substantiated by what we've just gone over?
Absolutely not.
And there you go. That's really, the story here is that this drama is a huge waste of time, and all of the comments that we received over it, that we're about to go over, were basically for nothing, because there was nothing to even respond to. There was just some cattiness in a few private messages, and some conversations where transmedicalists were involved. It's guilt by association is the strongest claim that Sunday can make on the back of all of this. That is it.
So I just want to preface this next part, that if, the accusation is that Brianna Wu might somehow do harm to the trans movement because she is lying about her advocacy. Let's juxtapose that. Let's put this with the harm that President Sunday has directly caused trans individuals. And that's what we're going to go over. Because of his lies and his actions, as a direct result, and we're gonna substantiate this, don't worry, we'll bring them up, and we will, again, reference how a lot of the claims that Sunday is making here in the rant you just heard from him are used in the harassment. Again, this harassment is a direct result of Sunday's lies. He purposely targeted Brianna Wu with this. I'm not going to say he purposely targeted anyone else. I don't know he did. I don't think he did. But it doesn't matter if he purposely did or not, because of his callous disregard and disrespect for the privacy of others. He has released their names, released their PFPs, and again, these are the results. This is not a full accounting of all the harassment seen, right? Again, it's not my place. If someone didn't give me direct permission to share the harassment that they've received with them, I am simply not going to do that. This is all harassment that, again, the people have approved of me showing. And approved of Jenny, to be clear, showing. So none of this is leaks or anything like that. This is mostly, I believe, public things that were said and done. And so, are we ready to transition to that? How do we want to do this? Do we want to just?
Yeah. So let me just bring up these screenshots.
If you could stream it, we can transition to that easier. Like if you can stream them, and we can you can make them big, and then we can look at them together. Cool.
I'd rather send them to you if that's all right.
Okay, it's just gonna give me a minute with the transition of the screen, but yeah, we could probably do that.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So forgive me if the technical stuff is a little weird right now. I'm waiting for you to send them.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, you got to hit enter on these. Waiting on you.
Okay.
But yes, what we're about to see. Okay, here's some. Let's give me a second while I try to figure out. Well, man, I really wish you would have streamed these, but we're gonna open it up and hopefully we can figure out a way to make it captured in the OBS. Give me a second. Okay, let's see if I can window capture this. Let's try this. Okay. Bigger. Okay, I think we got the first one up. Almighty God, please kill this white demon.
Yeah, I think that one was directed at me. Can you share your screen or?
I can't. Again, I can't share it with
Okay,
you.
sure.
I will just read them out as we go. Fair enough. Are we ready for the next one?
Yeah.
There's a lot. It's gonna be a while.
Yeah,
Okay.
there are a bunch of these.
What's wrong with you beyond being British? Okay, the British one's fair. The British one's fair.
Oh yeah, no, I'll own up to that. That's fair enough.
Fucking limeys. You feel...
I will admit the allegations.
Sure. You seem like a real hideous person inside and out. Okay, let's keep going. And check the dates on all these. These are all after the 27th, right? 27th and after. She's literally a racist, anti-LGBTQ right-wing piece of shit, and you're defending her. Child's IQ. You're both garbage. Feel free to go fuck yourselves. Shut the fuck up. You suck. Damn, this dumb bitch really thinks anyone thinks she's sorry. Get fucked, transphobe. With all due respect, go fuck yourself, you slimy shitbag. Update. I realize that this RT is in fact much worse than it seems, and on behalf of the marginalized communities you claim to be an ally to, go fuck yourself. This is to 𝕵𝖎𝖎, correct?
I think these ones were replying to my tweet where I made a pretty unapologetic statement about everything that Sunday had shown with a picture of him holding a sign saying the most based thing ever.
Most based thing ever. Fair enough. But again, this is again directly.
And they were responding to responding to the fact that 𝕵𝖎𝖎 retweeted it at one point.
A harassment. Again, this is harassment. This is what this is. This is targeted harassment. Let's not make any bones about it. This is what this is. Okay. Now, I'm not calling for any of these people to report it or whatever. I'm just showcasing. Again, if you believe harassment it is harmful to some extent. If you believe that, this is a direct result of Sunday's lies. And remember, we've showcased how these were lies. Let's keep going. You're gross. I know you think you're being cool or whatever, but all I see is a fucking loser with no real friends resorting to pathetic bully shit on Twitter. LOL. Willow, shut the fuck up. And then it lists a bunch of stuff you said.
Pretty standard. The next one is one of the most interesting, I think.
Okay.
You and your compatriots support this. So this is replying to me, which happened a few days ago. So apparently, because I was in a alleged transmedicalist group chat, I support terrorist threats made against schools. Kind of a wild thing to say
It is a little
over
wild.
that. And remember, this is the most nothing drama that has ever happened. And because of it, I apparently support terrorism.
Okay. What the fuck happened now? Brianna Wu chats leaked where she was being racist, transphobic, etc. And this is how the lies spread. This isn't harassment really, but this is again showcasing how the lies have spread, right? Again, none of these things were shown as... Oh, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I took these to kind of underline the point that I made earlier about how when Brianna said, the only thing that she said about BLM was, I didn't say anything about the BLM riots because I didn't want the trouble. And this is exactly what she was talking about, was people accusing her of being racist because she said something about the BLM riots specifically. Not BLM, not the George Floyd protests or anything like that, but the riots, very specific. And now apparently that's been taken as evidence she's racist. It's just fucking ridiculous. Yeah. And they're proving our point. We got a couple of these.
Brianna Wu has been obviously a dipshit for a long time. See her insane comments about moon rocks, as well as
those comments were pretty funny, I will say.
Oh, I don't know anything about those. So maybe that's correct. I don't know. As well as being an insufferable centrist lib masquerading as a leftist, so her also being a racist transphobe is completely unsurprising to me. Once again, nothing was racist that was said. There was nothing transphobic that was said. In fact, it's the complete opposite. But because, again, of President Sunday's purposeful, targeted harassment of Brianna Wu, these lies are spreading, creating a pylon, and more harassment that is happening. And the lies that are being spread is character assassination directly. And again, if you think this is no big deal, I can't help you. You're gone. You're lost to us. Fair enough. Brianna Wu has been coasting on goodwill of being a victim of Gamergate for years while being an awful person and an out-of-touch rich girl. But more and more of that goodwill is running out as she continues to be racist, ableist, and transphobic. Once again, the lies are spreading. We got a lot to go through, gang. We'll get them. You missed all the Brianna Wu stuff? I envy, but group chat messages were leaked revealing her as super transphobic and racist and just as a general bitch. And she tried to say it was out of context, but all her likes revealed no remorse. Brianna Wu is transphobic and racist, and Keffels is sort of defending her. And you see how the pylon increases, the secondary sanctions of anyone saying, hey, stop, these are lies. And we can see this in my chat, too, with Sunday dick riders, people who have his cock so far down their throat they can't distinguish reality anymore. Again, purposefully lying and leading targeted harassment against trans people. J.K. Rowling is proud of you. You're going to get a medal from her soon, any day, I promise you. Keep it up, gang. Keep it up. This is the stuff, right, that conservatives' wet dreams are made of. But let's keep going. Okay, we already got there. She literally said, the only reason I didn't shit talk BLM was because I'd get in trouble. Pronoun insanity has gone too far. I regret ever supporting trans rights. We just went over the leaks. Did anyone see anything like that? Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Let's be a Wick, not a Sunday. Let's be honest. Again, this stuff, the lies, they spread. The targeted hate, it spreads. And at 8 o'clock at the top of the hour, we're going to be in Karina Cohn on to discuss that specifically. But for now, let's get through these. I'll try to go a little faster.
Yeah, sure.
Jenny Matrix is one I will say is a literal turf. Are you a turf?
No, I'm not, in fact.
Oh, man, fades away into nothing. Anyway, I'll be pissing on your grave. That's to Jenny. It's really funny to see Brianna ripping on someone's appearance after leveraging how ugly she is to pretend to be trans online. Okay.
The implications of this one are just kind of wild. You know, there's so many layers to this. First of all, that Brianna is pretending to be trans. That's a ridiculous thing. Also, leveraging how ugly you are to be trans, implying that you can even do that is like kind of telling on yourself, you know.
Yeah,
Funny.
are you saying that trans people are ugly? That seems to be the implication.
And these are the people who are like supposed to be
these are
ripping on her for
J.K. Rowling's strongest warriors, to be clear.
yeah.
Hey, Frank.
And their apparent critiques are that she has been mean about someone's appearance in a group chat, and they're saying shit like this publicly.
Sure.
It's like, okay, I don't think you people actually believe in anything. You're just kind of scumbags jumping on any opportunity.
And again, the reason I want to reiterate, because people are like, do you know what targeted harassment is? It's when you make a video about someone online, you do not redact any of the other members, you call them racist, transphobic, etc. You continually post under their tweets about how, well, this is what they did. This is targeted harassment. That absolutely is. If you don't agree with that, then I don't know what to tell you. I'm not on Kick. I'm not on Twitch, right? Oh, I don't know if YouTube has a toss against what I want to tell you to do, so I'm just not going to say it. But seek help, go to therapy, take your meds. You're off your rocker. You're insane. Come on, let's go. It's really funny to see Brianna ripping on someone's. Oh, we already did that. And someone saying it's true. This may sound mean, Brianna, because it is, but maybe you shouldn't be so quick to shit on other people's physical appearance. Right, again, just being mean. Brianna Wu shitting on people she doesn't consider super hot. Also, Brianna Wu, content warning for jump scare. And then just post a picture of her from 2017. Classy. Brianna Wu calling other people ugly is insane. Even if these dames were private, why would you open yourself up to the same type of contents? I don't think that was just like, don't call people ugly, and I agree with that. I can't get over a pseudo-stealth lady trying to be the arbiter of trans and or left politics and style when she looks like someone force-femmed Mitch McConnell. Brianna Wu is an annoying and clocky cis woman, and so she has to make it our problem. Good news, she's trans, LMFAO. So Brianna Wu is transphobic. Isn't she trans? Also, she's brave as fuck to call trans women ugly men when she looks like that. Again, we went over the leaks. She wasn't calling trans people ugly. She was saying that Benny was ugly, let's say that, or had bad fashion sense. And that was bad, to be clear. She should not have done that. That was wrong. But again, crazy. Brianna Wu is not in any position to call other people ugly. Brianna Wu has a lot of nerve to be one of the most unfortunate-looking hatchet-faced people on this website, calling trans girls ugly in her little group chat of similarly disaffected freaks. Wonderful say about a group of trans people, calling them freaks. Beautiful. J.K. Rowling applauds you. Why don't you do humanity a favor and cure yourself? Again, Jenny Matrix's statement is, against me there is no antidote. All you can do is kill me. This is, again, a direct call to kill herself, saying, go kill yourself, to a trans person. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, something I just like really want to highlight here, like about the comments about personal appearance. What we said was private and focused on how one person dressed. Okay, these are very public, and they are not talking about how we're dressed at all. They are just going after our fundamental physical appearances.
And in some cases, including this one, to kill yourself.
Oh yeah, there's a few of those as well.
Player tip: kill yourself.
Yeah. No real.
UK.
You don't have to read into that one.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oh no, I meant the one before. You know, the implication that there isn't. It's not even an implication. You know, most people do that, but
UK, keep yourself safe. I don't know what this. Well, no, we do know what this is trying to imply. That they're going to find you and hurt you. That's what they're trying to imply. Again, as a direct result of Sunday's lies, people, again, are threatening with physical harm and encouraging trans people to kill themselves.
And not just
this is you.
Not just Sunday's lies. Not just Sunday's lies. His failure to redact this information, and his posting of it multiple times, saying our names, knowing that his community knows who some people in that chat are. There were people. If you look at his stream and you look at the chat, there are people name dropping me and Cactus because they know who we are. They're familiar with us. Some of them,
they're
at least.
harassing you. They're here because they know you're here to harass you. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the result that Sunday wanted. You know, if he didn't even say, now guys, don't go after these people. You know, to her credit, I think Demon Mama did a stream a couple of days ago. It was dreadful. She said some really, really awful shit. But to her credit, at the beginning of the segment, she says to her viewers, do not go after these people. Don't send them harassment or anything like that. But Sunday, if you watch his video, didn't do anything of the sort. There was no comment about not going after us. He just kind of left it be. And when you're somebody who's doing this kind of thing, if you have the experience that Sunday does with doing this, and he's gone after people multiple times, you know how people are going to react when you say this stuff. He's been online for long enough, in these spaces for long enough, to know what the impact is going to be, and he did nothing to try and stop it, which, frankly, when you know that, is tantamount to endorsement. There's no two ways about that, really.
Okay.
He just doesn't care about the collateral damage of these campaigns of his. And
going.
by the way, yeah, I got a couple more things. So, Wick, I think there's a tweet that you wanted to bring up about one of Sunday's fans.
Oh, Insomnia Nor. You want to skip to that part? We can. We'll get to these. We're on the 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙 meme here.
Oh yeah, sure.
I'll scroll up. I posted it to you.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Insomnia Nor. Hey, tagging some progressive victory where Brianna Wu works with them. How are you feeling about partnering with a pack that is headed by a transmedicalist? Once again, targeting Brianna Wu directly, her place of work, based on a lie. This is directed, targeted harassment. Insomnia Nor, Coffin Builder, if you're out there, if you're watching this still, shame on you. Fuck yourself. You have lost all credibility. You do not care about trans people or other people. You want to, again, if they disagree with you, or even if you think they disagree with me, you will use lies and slander to try to get them deplatformed. And not just from a platform, but from their jobs. You can go fuck yourself. Thank you. Fair enough.
Yeah, I think 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙 as well.
Oh,
Also,
𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙 did it too. I don't have the tweet up,
Yeah.
but 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙 has been doing that as well.
Apparently, yeah, made a call to try and make that happen. Yeah, there was a screenshot a second ago, actually, Wick. I think you misinterpreted the keep yourself safe one. So the implication isn't keep yourself safe because someone's going to do something to you. It's the acronym KYS.
Oh, kill you. Okay, so directly.
These last ones are all. These last ones are all
okay,
about.
So
you know,
yeah, it's just
kill yourself.
There's more kill yourself memes, and here's 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙. We all know what this means. Again,
yeah, there were others of these as well, but a lot of them were like sent by people who then quickly blocked me or deleted their tweets, so I couldn't get a hold of them.
And again, this is just the ones directed at the people who said, okay, you can show them. This is just the ones that we can show, right?
No, these are just a tiny handful of ones that I found in like 20 minutes, half an hour or so. There's way more. If you just type in like Brianna Wu into the Twitter search bar right now and scroll, it will not take long. In fact,
we don't have, right?
Yeah, sure.
We don't have the
Won't
time.
take long to find this kind of stuff.
We don't have the time. But I guess in closing, right? Because well, first of all, was there anything else you wanted to share, or anything else you felt was important to go over?
I think that was really it for the harassment side of things. But yeah, just to kind of underline the point, this was all nothing, really. Sunday didn't prove anything. He instigated a multiple day-long harassment campaign against me and a few friends of mine for no reason, really, just because he has political disagreements with us. And it was just a really, really scummy thing to do. And I think that's just the kind of person Sunday is. I think he enjoys doing that. It's about all I have to say.
Fair enough. I guess I'll end with this, right? to his sycophants, I don't think this will convince them. But I think to anyone watching or anything in passing, I think we've demonstrated very clearly that not only were President Sunday's claims not supported by the evidence that he provided, to be clear, but that the exact opposite, that the evidence that he provided proved the exact opposite. Not only is 𝕵𝖎𝖎 not a transmedicalist, but she was arguing and trying to convince transmedicalists out of their position. Not only does she not support non-binary people, but she made an effort to actively advocate in private for their needs in existence. Does she agree with every single thing that President Sunday thinks, or Doe thinks, or Demon Mom thinks? Probably not. But that's okay. To act and to imply that this was some sort of, that she is a secret racist, transphobic, transmedicalist is not only false, but a downright lie. It's just not true. And we've gone over and demonstrated that over and over and over again. It is very clear. Now, if you want to follow along at home, if you don't want to go through my boring voice or whatever and go through the clips, Jenny Matrix is going to be making this document available to the public soon. Where can people find it when it's time for it to come out? I know you got to do editing and stuff, right?
Yeah, I'll post it on I'll post a link to it on Twitter. I'll put it on my website, heterodoxtakes.com. And if you want to follow me, it's at heterodoxtakes on Twitter. But yeah, I kind of just want to get this over with, because it's, again, the most boring drama that has ever happened, and it should never have become what it did.
And yet here we are again. Sunday, purposely targeting trans women in order to, again, direct harassment their way, as well as get them removed from their positions of public power, because he claims that they are transmedicalist, but he provides no evidence to support that, and instead provides counter evidence that counters his claim. I hope all of you watching will at least have an open mind with this. Go through this again. Go through it on your own time, and once the document's up, if you prefer that format, you can read through it. But this was pretty clear. I don't know how else we could have made it clearly. It's we went through step by step, point by point. I don't know if you disagree. I guess I can't help you. You're too far gone. Yeah. Anything else?
Nope. That is about everything.
Jenny, thank you for being willing to come on.
Thank you for hosting me. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. Give me a second. We're going to transition now for a second. But, yeah, no, that was pretty clear. Shame on you, President Sunday, for lying. Shame on the people who spread those lies. 𝕵𝖎𝖎 should not have been mean in a group chat and made fun of someone's appearance. That was wrong. That was bad. She should not have done that. But she led no targeted harassment. Not this time, at least. I can't speak for anything she's done in the past. We're keeping laser focus on this instance right now. We weren't going to go, and again, it's beyond the scope of this document, and it's beyond the scope of this manifesto, to go through other times President Sunday has lied, misconstrued in order to target and harass others. Other people have made takedowns of those. This was beyond the scope of what we were trying to do here. Once again, we've clearly demonstrated this. You can disagree if you like. You're just stupid at this point, right? And you should not be taken seriously. And that's fine. It's a good litmus test for people who are honest and people who are dishonest. Now, you can... The little wiggling details, fair, fine enough. But with the again, if you come out of that, reading that, and think and claim that 𝕵𝖎𝖎 is a transmedicalist, you don't know what words mean, right? You don't know how to read at a fundamental level. Yeah, that's it. Cool. 8 o'clock. We have Karina Cohn coming on. We got some other people coming on, and we're gonna be talking about, right, what leads to this kind of behavior. What leads to this targeted harassment of people who even are painted out to and lied to have disagreed with the orthodoxy? Why are they so keen to keep their mouths shut? What happens to them if they don't? We saw some of that. This feeds into that topic, and we'll be going over that. Karina Cohn, Heads Heterodorks podcast, which you can find on YouTube and Twitter, I believe. You should check it out. But we're gonna have her on in a moment. Until then, let me send her that invite. Parallax, you want on? I'll bring you on for a minute. You're live. You had something to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to simply add that I think it bears worth mentioning, and you did touch on that it is a pattern of behavior. This isn't the first time. It definitely won't be the last. It's the worst kind of social ladder climbing. And I would really like to get him to publicly talk with me about the last time he did it, because I've already got him to privately concede his entire point regarding erudite. So I'd like to issue the challenge for you to come have that conversation and be willing to say publicly what you said privately, which is that the layman would not understand the distinction between psychometrist and psychometrician. Therefore, there would be no distinction to be made if she used either title. So this is the second time he's used a broad stroke or a broad brush to mischaracterize someone just in the last 6 months.
Okay, well, I can't. If this is a private conversation, I'm not gonna host it
That's
here.
fine. That's why I asked him to come have it publicly.
Okay. You guys can set that up. I'll host if you like. I don't know if he trusts me to be a fair moderator at this point, but I don't care. It's up to you. It's up to what you guys want to do. But that's fair enough. And again, it bears repeating. It was beyond the scope of what we were trying to do here today. But this is an evidence pattern of behavior of targeted harassment, especially of women, including at this point trans women, for reasons. So I don't know exactly why. I have guesses, but it's simply speculation, right? And I wanted to keep these to the facts and just the facts, what was said and what was shown. And yeah, so there you go.
Fair enough. Like I said, I just wanted to establish the pattern of behavior.
Okay, we'll see you later.
I would leave, but I respect you too much. Kick me to the void.
Bye. No, Origin, we're not gonna have you on. Sorry. We all again, there's no power when you say you hate Sunday, because we know. There's nothing there. Sunday could be a saint and you'd still hate him. I don't know what it doesn't help. Yeah. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this went. I think it was pretty strong. We once again, President Sunday claimed 𝕵𝖎𝖎 was a transmedicalist. We showed again how he was not. He claimed that she didn't support non-binary people. Again, the evidence did not show that, and the evidence showed, or at least implied, the opposite. So yes, these are just character assassination harassment. Will this hurt him? That's not my point. I'm not trying to hurt Sunday or hurt his viewership. I'm trying to set the record straight, to fight lies with truth. And that's what we do here. We expose lies. And I think that this is a pretty clear exposition or expose of at least these specific lies that President Sunday told. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, that's it. Let me see if our guests are almost ready. I have to give them the role. Gang, if I give you a link, you have to react to the role so you can see things. Karina, if you're watching, jump backstage and we'll pull you on. And say, actually, you know what? Give me a second. Small bio break. I will be right back. Sorry about that, gang. Okay, let's make sure everyone's here. Hello, you're live.
Hello.
Oh, your volume is like non-existent.
Well, I can fix that.
I can't hear you at all. Give it a minute, gang. Tech support. I know it's the thing.
The volume looks good, so I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds like maybe you're using the wrong mic or something because it sounds like you're far away.
No, it's fucking Discord, man.
Oh no, we got it
It's
now.
like
It's working now.
It's like, hey, I noticed that you're in Discord on your iPad and on your computer. We think that you want to use iPad as your mic. Never do, and it always goes back there.
Fair enough. We have one more guest joining for us that will be joining us today. Let me invite them.
That was a trip. Hey, I'm gonna pull a somewhat asshole move, and I'm sorry here, but what I'm gonna do is go stand up, go in my kitchen, and get some pizza, and chop it up and bring it out here. I meant to have this done 10 minutes ago, and it took a little longer to cook than I thought.
That's fine. We're gonna get the other person. Do what you need to do, and we'll invite the other person on, and we'll get there. So yeah.
It'll just be a minute. By the way, this Sunday dude is a trip. Are we going to talk about him?
Yes, we are. If you'd like. I mean,
All
if
right.
you have thoughts, that I'm.
Yeah,
I
gotta say. Well, I'm not saying this in front of your stream, just one-on-one.
Oh wait,
we appreciate.
Hold on, we are on stream.
Are we?
We are on stream.
Okay. Well, I would say this anyway, and then I'll come back and I'll go on video. But see, if you hadn't told me that, I would have said this anyway. I really appreciate that you're taking a deliberate and measured approach to try to understand things from a good faith viewpoint, and that can lead to a lot of criticism, and it can split people even who follow you when you say, well, hang on, let's try to understand this with a good reading. So I appreciate that you're doing that, Wick, and I'll be right back.
Oh, do what you need.
And now everybody knows I'm having pizza. That's terrible.
Pizza's delicious, so I don't think it's a terrible thing. Let me see when we can get the.
I'll BRB.
Yeah. Is it not working for them? Jump backstage, yo! Just jump backstage. Just jump backstage, and I'll pull you on. Turn them down by 30%. Okay, I can do that. So, done. You don't need perms. All you need to do is jump backstage, brother. Give me a second. Have you reacted to the rules? You have. You should see backstage. It's at the top of the... Oh, there you are. There we are.
Hello.
Hey.
1 second. I gotta change the volume here. Give me a second.
Let's see here.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Ha.
Awesome. What's up, guys?
We can't see you yet.
I'm coming.
Okay, give me a second. How's everyone's audio at this point? Is everyone good? Everyone can be heard? How's
test?
Test. I can hear you guys great.
Your camera ain't coming up. It's doing
the Omnipooner.
That is me. 1 second. Let me see what I can do about the camera. I've never done camera on this thing before with
Are you using a virtual cam?
Yeah, I think.
Make sure that the Discord's picking up the virtual cam.
Yeah,
virtual cam.
It's gonna be the
what like VTubers use.
Well, I have like an actual camera and stuff. I might need to set up OBS with Discord in order to make that work.
Yeah, your camera.
Are you afraid of your face getting out there?
No, my face is all over the internet at this point. It's all good. 1 second. this might take a minute, but and that's mainly because I don't know what I'm doing. So if I go settings, I should be able. Where do I connect all my shit to? That's weird. Are you guys cool if I go without camera, or did you really want camera there?
Camera's better than no camera, but if it can't work, it can't work. I mean, the needs must from the double drives, right?
All right. Well, if you, I don't want to keep everybody waiting. So if you guys want to get started, I'll figure this out and follow along.
Okay, as you're figuring it out, as you're messing up. First of all, Karina, hi. It's been a while.
Hey. That was an interesting stream.
What's your impression? Have you been following this at all?
Nah, this weekend was the first time I'd heard of this. What's his name? President Sunday.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'd heard of 𝕵𝖎𝖎 like 10 years ago, or whenever Gamergate happened. Was that 2015? 8 years ago. But you know, the leaks were not a surprise to me because I can tell you that people, like I'm sort of like an exile from the trans community in a lot of ways. But I can tell you, I have other people who I talk to who are not exiles, and the sort of stuff that leaked was just like, yeah, whatever.
It was just, again, it was put up to be like this excoriating like expose that we're going to see how 𝕵𝖎𝖎 doesn't support transgender people, that she wants to get rid of non-binary people and to kind of sacrifice them for the greater movement. But all the evidence, again, as if you watch the stream, as we went over, showed kind of the exact opposite. I mean, she was arguing against transmedicalism, right? She's not a transmedicalist. And again, she was arguing against people who were saying that non-binary is not real, right? So
that's sort of an inference that, you know, I'll tell you something that's sort of interesting to me. So I transitioned in '94. In '94, I don't have exact figures for this, so I'm estimating a little bit. I would say probably 90% of what constituted the trans community in 1994 were males who were medically transitioning to be more female. So we would call it male to female transsexual. That was the lingo back in '94. That was like 90% of the trans community. The Washington Post released some demographics in March that said that in 2023, something like 2 out of 3 people who identify as trans identify as non-binary and not transmasculine or transfeminine. And we know that somewhere around 80% of... Okay, so we have like a third of the trans community identify as like trans masculine or feminine. These are new terms or modern terms. So of that 33% now, about a slight majority of that probably identify as trans feminine. So that's what, 16%, right? Roughly?
Sure, we'll go with it. 16, 17%. Well, yeah, where are we going with this?
Well, the next thing to keep in mind is that about 20% of people who identify in these transmasculine or transfeminine categories have had any form of surgical transition. So what's 20% of 16%? That would be 3.2%?
Ish.
So where male to female transsexuals used to be like 90% of the trans population, now what number did we just say? 3%? 4%?
3.4, something like that.
So I think that's something to talk about.
Well,
I mean, generally, we don't have to talk about it.
If we want to have that conversation, we can. I'm just here to.
It should be something that if people who are in that medical category are like, who's speaking for us now, and who's speaking above us now, who's representing us in the media, and it used to be people who looked like us, and now it doesn't. Now it's not people who are like us at all.
Fair enough. That is something that we can think. I would say that 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖏 would. I don't want to speak for her, so I won't.
Yeah.
So you know what, 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖏, I don't know if you agree with that or not. I'm not gonna put words in your mouth. Fair enough.
Fair enough. Is Brianna Wu watching?
I don't know. She's had COVID recently. I don't know if she watched the stream or not.
That sucks. I just got over it. It's the worst thing.
And people are saying, well, Brianna Wu's paying you to do this. No, I'm doing this for free. I'm doing this for free, gang. This is not what I get paid to do. But yeah, it is what it is.
Hell yeah.
Oliver, was it? Is that your name?
Yeah, that's me. What's up?
Oliver, how's it going?
Hey,
Hello.
I'm good. I'm good. Hey, it's nice to meet you.
Yeah, what were your thoughts on everything?
Nice to meet you.
On the Sunday thing, I mean, I had a minor falling out with Sunday over like the time he pretty much did the same thing to 𝕻𝖎. So I've seen him do this before, essentially. And it feels like a mixture of LARPing and delusion, in my opinion. It's like people who have nothing really else going on in their lives trying to perform like these covert ops on other people that they think are suspicious actors or whatever. In reality, they're typically just going with they're really just trying to expose the most like normal progressive activists of all time. It's really weird to me that they have no actual dirt. It's usually just like screenshots where they have to infer a shit ton of like other intention just to make them look bad in the first place. I think like anybody who's so insecure that they would get offended by Brianna's comments about Benny really needs to do more introspection on themselves instead of expecting other trans people to validate them. I generally feel like I'm totally fine with respecting anybody's pronouns in real life, you know? I myself definitely am very just female to male. That's it. I really don't want anything to do with any of the extra stuff.
To be clear?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Female to male?
Yeah.
That would be transmasculine. I just want to make sure I get the terms right.
No, you're good. It's like female to male transsexual or transmasculine is. I don't usually use the word transmasculine just because that means absolutely nothing to most people. So I've fought with people about this on Twitter before. Most trans masks are not masculine at all. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at as like I'm so sorry I lost my train of thought a little bit. But basically, I don't think it's trans people's job to validate other trans people or people who say they're trans. I think I never really expect anybody to validate my transness. I like to have my masculinity and my manhood validated, of course, as does every man. But I'm not really interested in people saying like, yes, you count as trans. Like, I really only care if my doctor says that. That's it. You know, that's the only person who needs to know that. But
I mean, we could have a show, and this could be just talking about the validity or invalidity of transmedicalism. We can do that if you'd like. But what I wanted to talk about tonight is why people are so scared to talk about this. Because they are. They're terrified. They're terrified to have opinions about this.
I have a theory.
Oh, please give us your theory.
Yeah, so I'm not a leftist, so let me put that out there, or a progressive. My politics are all over the place, so if there's no party that represents them well, but in my perfect world, there's more local action and less national action, right? So think locally. Shrink the federal government, increase the local government to whatever the local needs are.
Sure.
So that's not clearly in any category, right? So I just want to establish that. But what I've noticed from people who have a lot of dependency on friendships and connections on the left, probably on the far right also, but especially on the left, is that there's this very real strain of purity that runs through it, where you're not allowed a divergent opinion on anything that has entered into the list of concerns where you're supposed to have a political opinion. So if you, like the thing that we saw a couple of years ago, there ought to be nothing political about wearing a mask or not wearing a mask during a pandemic. The only thing that you should evaluate is this effective or not? And on the right, it became political signaling. Oh, people wearing, don't wear the mask. It's tyranny. And then on the left, oh, if you're not wearing a mask, you're killing people. And those strains of purity are just so stupid. But it's like this everywhere. So what Brianna Wu says, some other trans woman is clocky or dresses like a transvestite. That's sort of a burn, but that wasn't something that was said directly to that person, and it wasn't supposed to get out.
Yeah,
and Brianna said, "Yeah, go ahead."
I was just gonna say, like, I definitely agree. Like, what you say in private is always going to be a little bit harsher than when you say it like to their face. I do find your theory a little bit interesting in the sense that, like, when you say, especially on the left, I grew up like Catholic conservative, like pretty right-wing household. There's a few things they were a little bit more lenient on, but I personally, as a young child growing up in that environment, was very radically minded, and it was. I think a really interesting like experience for me was when I started moving from the right to the left, and then I realized like maybe after like 8 months or so of watching like being more on like on the leftist side of things, I was like, I'm kind of the exact same person actually. Like I still have no ability to have any nuance on any opinion. It's like I either have to be completely right or completely wrong on something. There is no like easy, like there is no like progressive movement forward. It's always got to be like acceleration. It's like everything right away. And I feel like the underlying problem with any sort of like radical movement is that they it's not really a belief system. It's like a way of thinking that kind of those people specifically choose politics as a way to express that. You'll find people that do it with religion, and you can find people that do it with all sorts of other things. Like, you know, you also get incels and like femcells kind of deal, right? Where it's also like very extreme radical thinking on either end. So I feel like that's more what is at play. I don't know if you would agree or disagree.
Well, look, we could talk about the theories and the whys and things like that, but I think it's very clear, and I think Sunday, thanks for demonstrating that if you again deviate at any, or even seem to deviate in any degree from the orthodoxy, that you will be targeted for harassment, depersoned, and it will become okay, and even laughed at and celebrated. Like, again, one of my frustrations with all of this is showing the harassment that these people received won't move these people. They will say, no, that's a good thing that they received harassment because they're bad people, because they disagree with it.
That's the purity.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you have this mindset that I'm a good person. The proof is that I'm a good person is that I hang out with good people, and the proof is that we're all good people is that we keep affirming all these values that we share. Oh man, this person's affirming a different set of values. We're going to get contaminated if that value is allowed to spread in this community that we've already said is good. My advice to people, I know I want people to comment on that, but my advice to people is don't try to think of yourself as a good person. That's the first step towards misery.
Yeah, I mean,
just real quick, just elaborate on that. Don't think of yourself as a good person. That's the first step towards misery. Can you elaborate briefly?
Good is so abstract. So what I tell people is the very first thing that you should become good at, instead of being a good person, is just being a good listener. Because there's going to be people who have all sorts of different life experiences, who have all sorts of different viewpoints. And although you might start to build a model of what you think they believe, you're probably not right. So being a good listener, ask questions, engage in good faith, try to probe, try not to believe that you already have the right answers, and try not to make assumptions that you're on the right side and that somebody else is on the wrong side. And look at this Sunday guy. Right? He's the exact opposite of that. From what I saw on his stream, like I don't know him in person.
For sure.
So this could be just like his internet persona, in which case it's still reprehensible because these are real people he's talking about.
Yes.
But in his persona, does he exercise good faith? No. Does he try to cast things in a positive light to try to understand them? No. Does he ask questions? Does he in a single second of his framing, does he say, well, here's something that I don't know and I can't make a judgment on it because I don't have enough information? No, he's judging the whole time. Like like I said, I didn't know him before this weekend. I just saw his stream, but goodness gracious, there are few people in the world who have as many excellent opportunities to improve themselves as 𝕶𝖓 has, which is great.
Clip it and ship it. I love the nature of that. I'm putting that one. I'm going to steal that one if that's okay. There are few
Sure.
people in the world with as many opportunities to exercise self-improvement as President 𝕶𝖓. I love it.
That's my impression of him.
Beautiful. And that, look, put that one on a t-shirt, gang. We can make some bank. Yes, so much of this could have been just resolved. Hey, wow, these comments seem a little out of whack, right? I don't know, again, how you could read that, but assuming you did, assuming you're low IQ and you read that into it. Brianna, is this what you think? That's it. That could have saved so much. So much. Like, hey, Brianna, did you actually mean this? Is this what you meant? But no. And again, President 𝕶𝖓 isn't stupid. He's not stupid. We aren't going to give him that excuse.
No, I wouldn't.
Knew.
And in fact, some of his viewers were speculating about his IQ in his stream, and they're pretty sure he's at least 140 IQ. So we know he's a smart guy.
Yeah, fair enough, right? This is President 𝕶𝖓's community itself, right? 140 IQ 𝕶𝖓 here has decided not to ask, hey, is this what you really meant? Is it instead, because he knew that's not what she really meant.
Now I have to at least interrupt. I think that 140 is inflation adjusted.
Sure, true. Look, let's be real. For online streamers, that might be like they get a bump. They get a probably a 40 IQ bump. Okay, so I'm at least, I don't know, I'm at least 80.
Well, they're socialists, so they redistribute all the IQ points between the entire audience. So, each one gets about 2.
Fair enough. Man, Oliver, I should have you on more often if we're going to a roast session. Damn. But yeah, it's again, no one's asking Brianna Wu, hey, did you mean this? They have decided, okay, here's some comments she made. We're going to paint them in this light, purposely target her, and get her fired from her jobs. Right? Take money and food off of her table. And again, this isn't to try to understand. This isn't to try to maybe engage with it. This is just hate, pure and simple. It's hate.
Yeah, I feel like insecurity's got to be a huge part of it. I like what you said about Karina. I like what you said about kind of the perception of yourself as a good person. Because usually if you label yourself as a good person, you start to work backwards and justify your decisions as good in hindsight instead of just looking at your behavior and then making a judgment off of that, And I think especially when you have people like Brianna, where they're like being a good person for a lot of people in these spaces, can often involve like doing activism or like trying to like taking some action to move things forward in a way, like in a progressive direction. And I feel like when people are faced with other intelligent individuals who are actually bringing progress forward and actually being good people, it puts them in a position where they're insecure about their own lack of morals, and it kind of makes them want to like shut it down. It's kind of like, you get an ugly reflection of yourself in the mirror and you kind of want to cover it up. And I don't know if that has something to do with it, but I'm also not in his head, so I can't read all of his intentions into it. I do know though that like people like him definitely make it difficult to have any earnest conversation about things like transmedicalism. And I do try and stay a little bit critical of transmedicalism in some respects, but you can never have those conversations if people are just going to brand you outright. And I've had like quite a few people dogpile on me in the past over takes that I've had. So it's a weird feeling. It's almost like everybody's like telling you, oh, you're not going to get picked, you're not going to get the cis people's approval, and it's a bunch of cis people who are mad that they don't approve of you, and it's just the irony of that every single time is insane. So don't know if that got to a point, but yeah.
Since I have you here, Karina, and I think I asked you this last time I had you on, but I think it bears repeating. I'm curious if your answer's changed. It might, probably not. How did we get from the 90s to here? What happened, right? How has the movement, the trans movement, the trans grouping, individuals, the community, how has it transitioned, for lack of a better term, from what it was then to what it is now?
Like what are some of the factors that got us to where we are right now?
Yeah, why are we how we are? Like, why are we at the spaces we are from where we came from?
Well, I mean, one of the biggest reasons is because people who had a trans experience just figured out how to network politically, and they were very, very successful at it. So it used to be that if you transitioned, one of the things that you would try to do is what they call go stealth. So build family, build career, build your relationships in such a way that you're not always having to, be the token trans person wherever you are. It was to try to blend in. And of course, nowadays that's considered like a very negative thing to try to pass and to blend into the world. But some of the people who wanted to genuinely work towards expanding trans rights in law, and this, I'm speaking mostly of like the UK and America here. I don't have too many experiences beyond that. They tended to be people who were more visibly trans and were wanting to develop a more social representation of trans.
Is that bad?
So what's that?
Is that bad? That seems like a fair thing to want, right?
It's let's say that there's trade-offs to that, right?
Okay.
So I'm not going to say it's wholly bad or good, but one of the trade-offs is that prior, when it was the case that you were going to try to just blend in and move on in the world, that your politics were like your own personal politics. You were not expected to conform to any sort of group identity. You didn't have to, like the sort of position that 𝕵𝖎𝖎 is in right now, of having to say all of the right things all of the right time. That didn't exist. So as you move more towards this being a political identity as well as a personal goal, right? Transitioning was a personal goal. Now it's a political identity as well. Now you have to adopt all of the politics with it as well. And for people who don't adopt the politics or who want to walk their own path or think differently, look at what's happened to 𝕵𝖎𝖎, who said something which I think is very reasonable, saying, "Oh, I didn't want to comment on any of the BLM riots because I couldn't take what came with it." Well, I did. When there were riots in my city, I said, "Man, it's really horrible to see this space torn down." And it doesn't matter why people were rioting. It's making the quality of the city worse, right? I can say that sort of thing because since I'm sort of exiled from the trans community now because I don't have all the right politics, it's easy for me to say that out loud. What 𝕵𝖎𝖎 said is totally reasonable, which was not even a comment on BLM, but was saying, I don't even feel like I can make a comment in public.
I want to be clear, either positive or negative, right? There are certain topics you just avoid because no matter what you say, it's going to be I'm not a big streamer, right? But I am a little, I have my little space, right? People watch what I do. People see what I do. People come on my show, right? Bigger names, smaller names. There are certain topics and things like that I just don't want to talk about because I know that whether I talk about them positively or negatively, it's going to be a shit show. It's going to be a shitstorm. There's a reason we're not streaming this on Twitch, for example, right? Because I know even having this conversation, my friend Sansel, okay? Well, not a friend, someone I'm friendly with, fellow content
someone
creator,
you've heard of.
Fellow content creator Sansel. Okay. Yeah. Fellow content creator Sansel. He recently was targeted and banned because he disagreed with people about the 𝕵𝖎𝖎 leaks.
What?
What? Exactly.
What do you mean banned?
banned from Twitch. They banned him. His channel
Twitch
was
banned
banned.
him.
Over Brianna Wu, like
that's what he was talking about when they got him banned, right? Like that was a whole stream. We've had people go over the stream like to see did he say anything. Like I can't see anything. There's a few others who look. No one can see anything. My guess is, and it's a guess. It's a guess. To be clear, speculation. Take this with a huge grain of salt, gang. Is that people again from this this community that wants to just hate on anyone who supports Brianna Wu, probably targeted and got his shit taken down by mass reporting. I don't know for sure if that's the case.
I mean, it could have also been somebody contacted Twitch support and said, hey, there's like a raging transphobe on your platform.
Yeah,
there's like a literal neo-Nazi on your platform or something. And, you know, they just did it without even looking. I mean,
I don't know. I have no idea.
Could I use this as an opportunity to coin a term that I'd like to popularize? When you're just flagging people's or reporting people's content in the hope that they get in trouble, I want to call that stochastic censorship.
Stochastic censorship. Okay.
Because you don't have any guarantee that reporting or even mass reporting is going to get them censored, but there's a chance. There's a chance. So stochastic censorship.
Or snitching.
Well, all right. That's a better term.
Fair enough. Did you have thoughts, Oliver? Go ahead.
I don't know. I mean, I've been like thinking the last few days just why a cis guy from Canada cares so much about American politics and why he's like so hell-bent on sabotaging it. This is not the first time they've done this to like an activist. There was the RGR thing that happened like I want to say a year and a half or so ago.
Okay, I've heard about this. I confess I don't know. I've heard rumors. Can you kind of walk me through what happened there with RGR? I know who RGR, right? Gracie Rochon. I don't know how to say
Riley Grace Rochon. She's done like she's been working like in the political sphere to actually push forward like a pro-trans legislation
in her location. I think she successfully got some passed, didn't she?
Yeah. She's ensured that if I ever have to move, I'm going to Maryland or wherever I think that's where she passed it. But basically, she got into a couple disagreements with 𝕵𝖎. I'm being pretty vague about it just because I don't know all the details either. But there was one about self-ID, and then there was one where Riley went after, or she didn't even go after, I don't think, but she criticized 𝕍, who is 𝕵𝖎's partner. I think those two things together kind of sparked like a massive outbreak of like just vitriol towards Riley. And she ended up quitting the internet because of it. Like she was streaming and stuff before, and she just kind of stopped. I personally like drama.
I remember that person.
Yeah. I think like drama is drama at the end of the day. Like people are going to pick fights with each other. People are just going to like talk shit, whether that includes like some backstabbing or not with leaking group chats. I think what really matters is like how you handle the fallout and your motivations for messing specifically with progressive activists or people that are actually trying to push things forward. As a leftist, you really should be way more open to working with those people and not just finding any reason possible to dunk on them for stupid things and try and like hold progress back, especially when you're A, cis, and B, live in fucking Canada. So, you know.
Noted. How can we fix this? Because this is a problem, right? We talk about this like this purity testing culture, right? And I agree with you that it's absolutely present. I would say that it's not just on the left, that the right has their purity testing as well. How do we fix it? How do we get away from being so hateful towards people with just mild disagreements or supposed disagreements? What do you think?
I would just, in my opinion, like, I mean, I don't have as much experience. I just remove yourself from them as much as possible and find people who are interested in doing the same things you are. They're definitely out there. They're growing. There's more and more people who are pretty sick and tired of a lot of the radical bullshit that has been kind of pushed by the trans movement in general, I guess. But yeah, my opinion, just get away from them. And if you're going to talk about them, don't talk directly to them. Don't try and argue with them. Just do to them what they do to you. Take a bunch of their clips, put them together, and make them look like a stalker. And, you know, seems to get people to back off a little bit.
I'm going to have a slightly different take.
Please.
Wick, I think you're doing one of the things that needs to be done, which is to model constructive disagreement, to model listening, talking, making sure that there are different views being represented, and making sure that you're incorporating people who are willing to speak to each other and practice good faith. So showing people how it's done, and then saying this is actually a value that we should be incorporating into our community.
You know, you don't have to blow smoke up my ass, right? You can just.
I'm not, because I'm speaking more generally now, because you have an audience of like 100 people who are watching. So I want them to understand this too. This isn't just about you. This is about consciously choosing to represent the virtue of being a good listener and being open-minded and tolerant, right? So let me use this word, or go on this word tolerant for a second, because there's been for some reason over the last, let's say, 10 years or so, let's say, I'll blame it on Trump, because he was a crazy guy and brought in a lot of crazy people with him. Tolerance used to be a very highly regarded value and something that our whole society was aiming for, because when you have people who have different cultural backgrounds, different religions, different creeds, that if you want to live in peace with people who do not believe the same things that you do, then what you have to do is be able to tolerate them. And that does not mean accept them. That does not mean celebrate them. It means that you have to be dedicated to the proposition that you are going to coexist peacefully with them and allow them to live their lives in peace, and that you will live your life in peace, and that you might even have commerce together. You might have conversation together, but you are not going to require that everybody adopt all of the same values and beliefs in politics. So understanding what tolerance is and practicing it, incorporating it, I think is something everybody could do.
Question on that, I guess. What do you do with the people that won't tolerate other beliefs? Do you still try and coexist with them?
Well, that's a great question. So there's two parts to this, and I'll tell you. There's a famous person in my city who is a military veteran, and he's crotchety as hell. And he has stopped doing this recently. Not that he's adopted any better behavior, but in order to try to prove that he has freedom of speech, he very misguidedly hung a Nazi flag from his house. And this attracted news attention. This attracted a lot of frustration from neighbors. And at the end of the day, what is happening in his neighborhood and with his neighbors is they ignore him, they shun him, they allow him to do whatever he's going to do, but they're not throwing bricks through his windows, and they're not lighting his house on fire. So when you have somebody who has these really abhorrent views, if they're not somebody who is in a position of political power, if they're just somebody else who's your neighbor and somebody who's just sort of a person who has repellent views, then you avoid them. You don't have to clear the snow off of the sidewalk in the winter. You don't have to buy them groceries when they've got COVID. You just let them be and solve their own problems. But you don't have to go and make problems for them.
I mean, I definitely don't agree with making problems for anybody if you can avoid it. I guess I'm curious because when you talk about like tolerance and having open conversations and you know, embracing people and like good faith disagreement and all that, I agree. Like, I think Wick, what you're doing is like pretty awesome in that regard. But there's people like Sunday who will like they you know, they go out there actively to try and like destroy that. They're not like doing their own thing. They're actively like, it seems like they actively try and take steps to prevent that from happening. So when you've got people like that, it seems like we do need to draw a line at some point. There are some actions or beliefs that we can't really tolerate within certain spaces, right?
Let me
well,
talk
within
on
certain
that,
spaces,
if I may, let me talk on that. I think it's important to let President Sunday speak. And again, if anyone goes out and harasses him over this, it's wrong. You should not do that. Stop doing it right now. And if I have presented evidence that you have harassed him or as members of his community and given them death threats or anything like that, we will ban you from mine. We do not allow that, right? We don't throw bricks through their windows. But what we do is we let them speak, and then again, show people what they say. And say, again, Sunday actively lied about 𝕵𝖎𝖙, violated her privacy and the privacy of those around her, with no regard to the privacy of the collateral damage, right, that he did to the other people. And as a direct result of that, harassment was directed towards them, and it is still being directed towards them. And again, members of the community came in, they saw this harassment, and they laughed at it, and they did not care. We showcase that. We show people that and let people make their own decisions, because I believe that most people find that behavior abhorrent and will, again, just avoid him, as they should and as other people should. That is how we answer intolerance. We showcase it. We allow them to give their abhorrent views. We show why it's abhorrent, and then we leave them alone.
You don't throw bricks through his window. You don't try to get him fired from his day job. You don't try to isolate him from society and remove him from it. But you discuss what you see. You document it like you're doing, and you say this isn't the sort of behavior that we like, that we appreciate, or that we value. And F this guy, but you don't have to ruin him.
I guess my my question, I hope I'm not like derailing with this. Wick, you can tell me to like shut if you want to move
You're
on.
here for a reason, because I want to hear your opinions on things, and I want you to talk. Don't apologize. Loosen up. Come on. Do some stretches. Get loose, right? Loosey goosey.
All right. Well, fuck you. I'm gonna talk now. I'm kidding.
Hell yeah.
My question was gonna be that, like, let's say Sunday's the one throwing bricks through your window, or he's the one trying to ruin your life or whatever. Do you try and have like peaceful dialogue with him, or do you drive him out of your community? I mean, why should you have to uproot your stuff and your people because of other people bothering?
Sunday's little Nerf bricks that he's throwing at 𝕵𝖎𝖙 here, right? Like his little Nerf bricks that he shows. Like, it's like a child punching you. Like, you don't punch him back. He's a child. It's not really hurting you. You can just slowly, like, you could say, hey, stop, and this is why you're wrong. This is why you've done it. Like, again, if the reason I came out so strongly on this is because Sunday, I think a lot of people who, again, we can look at his views he normally gets. He got a lot of attention for this one, right? He got a lot of attention for this one. And I think that's kind of why he did it, if I had to speculate. He knew it would garner attention, right? Like, we found a new dragon to slay. That's always going to give you the updoots and virtue clicks, etc. We could just point that out, and then we can just, again, counter his lies with what was actually said and what was actually done. And people could still have disagreements with 𝕵𝖎𝖙. 𝕵𝖎𝖙 and I fight like cats and dogs sometimes, right? She makes fun of centrists. I'm not a centrist, but she keeps calling me one, right? All the time. She's wrong. She's dead wrong on that. And I've said that to her face. I've said that behind her back. I'm saying that now, right? Like, anyone who thinks that 𝕵𝖎𝖙 requires like this purity of agreement just doesn't know who 𝕵𝖎𝖙 is. Now, that might have been true 10 years ago. I don't know. She's made a lot of strides, okay? But yeah, she's perfectly okay with having differences of opinion. We are working for a common goal, and that's okay. But yeah, so if the person's actually hurting you, though, so I want to answer your in the spirit. If you have someone who is actively hurting you, right? Like legitimately hurting you. Again, if they're violating the toss or whatever, I think it's fair to, take action in that way, depending on if it's harassment and things, not just disagreeing. Disagreeing isn't hurting you, right? But if yeah, if they continue to harass you, I think blocking them, muting them, not talking about them. Again, too many people make the mistake of prolonging drama about them by continually talking about it. If someone comes out and just attacks you viciously and it's hurting you, stop addressing it. Stop talking about it. It's wind, right? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, I mean, I would pretty much agree as like disengaging with people who are trying to more or less hound you for a reaction is probably the best route to go.
I've had more than a few people try to come after me over the years.
Oh yeah,
Oliver, and every time somebody like tries to up the ante and threaten me more, I just dig in a little more, and most people fold.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't really have anything, there's not much that they can do. I feel like with because I see a lot of like drama, not even in, like politically involved drama, that where people kind of do the same thing, where they throw together like haphazardly some screenshots or some allegations or something, and they present it as something that can like ruin somebody, or with the intent of ruining somebody. But typically, I think the evidence usually speaks for itself. If you've actually done something wrong, and you like you get exposed for it, usually the fallout is relatively permanent. Depends on how good your marketing skills are, I guess. But if you have no ground to stand on and you try to throw accusations at people, it's usually you can bounce back from it pretty well, it seems.
Yeah, no notes. That's
like
true.
unless yeah,
that's true. That's true. But the fact of the matter is that usually is carrying a lot of weight. It's not always. The reason people engage in this kind of behavior, even if they have nothing, is that all too often it works. And that is a fear that I have and others have, because they've all seen it. We've seen it both in our personal lives and our professional lives. We've seen it on the small stage and we've seen it on the large stage. We can all point to people that we were unfairly attacked, harassed, and their lives were severely impacted. I won't go so far as to say ruined, but severely impacted negatively by people who have misconstrued, mischaracterized, and in some cases outright lied about what they said or did. And that's fine, right? Like that's a reasonable fear to have. And I think that, like, I don't know how to fix that, because where's the line between something you believe to be true versus a malicious truth or a malicious lie? Like, I don't know how to combat this other than just for people to stop listening to those people, for people to not take these accusations seriously, and simply just be like, oh no, what you said doesn't make sense. We're not gonna kowtow to the mob here. We're not gonna bow to the mob here. And I hope that more and more people are seeing that, because I think it's better now. I do. I think that 2023 is better than 2016 was and 2018 was with this, right? I think that we have improved in a lot of ways. Of more and more companies and things are being like, really? You being serious right now? And kind of filing the complaints where they belong, in the trash. But I could be wrong. That's just my impression. What are your thoughts?
Could I bring up this idea of being a bystander versus being an upstander?
Please.
Yeah. So when you mentioned that people have a reasonable fear of getting like pulled into the whirlwind or the drama when somebody's under attack and somebody's being unfairly attacked or criticized, and we all have a choice to make when that's happening, especially if it's somebody that we trust, and particularly if it's somebody that we know. That we can either be a bystander and just be quiet and hope that we don't draw any notice, or we can be upstander and screw up our courage a little bit and say, you know what, I actually know this person, and either they didn't screw up, they're being lied about and being misrepresented here, and it's not fair, and I stand with them, or maybe I know this person and I trust them and I like them, and maybe I think that they did screw up here, and I'm still standing with them because I know that their character is not represented by this one event. So people can be upstanders instead of just watching all of this stuff happen.
Well, there is this, like, again, I go back to it, this culture of fear around it, because there are secondary sanctions that get thrown around all the time. I am curious to see how much fallout is going to have. Well, we saw some of the harassment that came to the people who merely existed in the same space as 𝕵𝖎𝖎 will, right? The secondary sections. So for the people like me who are standing up for her, and others have as well, thankfully, right? Who said, this is nonsense, knock it off. 𝕬𝖎𝖙 did that as well too. It's like, yo, this ain't 𝕵𝖎𝖎. What are you doing, right? And again, it's going to be interesting to see how much hate gets thrown 𝕬𝖎𝖙's way for simply saying, wait, this is nonsense. I'm sticking up for someone that I don't think did this. Because secondary sanctions is when you not only sanction the person or group or country or individual, but you sanction everyone who works with them as well or is around them. So it's not like, I hate what Sunday did, but I hate what Sunday did, and I hate everyone around him. And so not only am I going to kick Sunday off of my space, but anyone who is associated with Sunday also is getting out of my space. It's a form of a way to isolate someone. It's a way to isolate them and target them. And again, I refuse to do that. There are mods for Sunday who are in my community, in my Discord, who are free to be in my community, in my Discord. Again, I'm just a better person than they are. And so I'm not going to engage the behavior that they do. That's just it, right? Oliver, you seem bored. Are you okay?
I'm listening.
Okay.
I'm just...
You just got resting bored face? Okay.
Yeah, no, we're good.
What are your thoughts on all this?
I was gonna say, I feel like a big driver for like why the fear stays around and why the radicals stay around has way more to do with people who enjoy abusing other vulnerable people versus anything like political at all. You can kind of take the structure of a lot of these dynamics and apply it to almost any community, even not just online ones and not just political ones. If you have anybody who is vulnerable, desperate, or lonely, looking for validation or some kind of family, which a lot of trans people don't get, they're much more likely to fall down the path of like taking validation or acceptance from literally anybody that they possibly can. I don't think that Sunday's communities or even Dia Mama or whoever, I don't think a lot of these communities are full of well-adjusted, like, working people who have regular lives and friends outside of the internet. You know, I think a lot of them are probably younger, more vulnerable people who are either questioning their gender or going through other issues, and they find solace in these communities where there is almost like a us versus them mentality, where they can kind of bond over the like perceived threat of others that like they can just kind of get sicked on by people like Sunday, which is why I consider those people grifters. Is like they really just harbor insecure, vulnerable people and weaponize their insecurity and their vulnerability in order to get back at people that they don't like. And then if you don't comply, oh well, guess what? You lose all your friends and you're alone again. It's really disgusting, in my opinion, especially in the trans community, because it applies to me, that you would ever, as a cis person, weaponize like trans vulnerability or like trans suffering like that just for your own spiteful nature or your own like personal gain. It's really gross. Like, but it's gross in any capacity. I mean, you can find any community that does shit like this.
And it's a parasocial problem that exists. I don't know how to fix it other than encouraging my community to be like, don't take my word for these things, right? And again, I make it very clear. You can strenuously disagree with me. You could say I'm a grifter. What you could say horrible shit about me. I'm not going to kick you out from my community unless you break the rules, which are clear, right? If you break the rules, then fair. But at no point is one of my rules agree with what WhickTV says. That's a silly rule to have.
Right.
I wanted to address also something, right, that I think is important. The other problem I have with what Sunday has done here is kind of reflective of what he told Mr. Girl when Mr. Girl released the Destiny Manifesto and accused Destiny of all sorts of nonsense. It was shown to be farcical and nonsensical. And Sunday had very wise words for Mr. Girl. he was very frustrated and upset at Mr. Girl because Sunday is no friend of Destiny, no fan of Destiny, has said, you have ruined it. If Destiny actually does something now, we can't talk about it because your false accusations has poisoned the well. It has muddied the waters. No one is going to take any accusation against Destiny seriously because what you have done with your faux hit piece, with your feckless, impotent accusations, is made him kind of impervious. So, 𝕵𝖎𝖙 has been made impervious if she actually is these things. Because what President Sunday has done through his feckless and impotent attacks has made it impossible to correctly come after 𝕵𝖎𝖙. Because now no one will take it seriously. They will be like, oh, you're just pulling a Sunday. And if it does come out that Wu has done things that deserve criticism, that are beyond the pale, it's going to be much harder to take her to task for it because President Sunday has pulled a Mr. Girl and poisoned the well and released this impotent, feckless nothing burger. And so that's frustrating to me because I hold people in my sphere. If they do something beyond the pale, I think it's important to call them out for it. And I have. And I try not to do it in a way that, again, isolates them or directs harassment of them. I'd go out of my way not to do that. But, I don't know. It's just crazy to me. But,
yeah. I hear what you're saying, but please don't underestimate 𝕵𝖎𝖙. I think the future could show a different story.
Maybe.
I hope there's more leaks.
Yeah. Well, I'm not here.
I want there to be more.
You're not a
more based.
fan. That's fair.
What? Well,
do you have? Well, if you want to criticize her, again.
No, I just want more people to like. You remember when? Of course, you're going to remember this, but you remember when ContraPoints said, this ritual of asking everybody their pronouns, like. Obviously, that's only happening because somebody has recognized that somebody trans is in the room. Like, that's a real thing. That's a real thing. And when ContraPoint said that, I was like, oh, thank God somebody said that out loud, because it's the most annoying shit to, like, it's extremely performative allyship and humiliating and cringy when you're in a space and somebody knows you're trans and they want to do this thing. They want to do the thing that they heard about to make you feel included. And actually it does the very, very opposite thing.
It's like
so when ContraPoints,
like
you're nodding along. You know exactly what I mean, right?
If a black person comes on my stream and then I start talking about how great Obama was, right? It's a little sus. It's like, okay.
Oh, I've seen actual shows like black created shows about that kind of thing. There was like a scene, oh god, I can't remember the name of the show. It might have literally just been Woke or something like that. But there's a scene where a black guy like walks into a party and it's just all white people and one of them goes up to him and is like, so I didn't think OJ did it. And it's like, what you just said like reminded me exactly of that. It's just like it's making it very obvious.
Now, at the risk of causing a little controversy, it was mostly people who identify as non-binary that were heaping shit on ContraPoints. Oh, but I want to talk about my pronouns. Well, not all of us are down with that. Like, and it should be the case that ContraPoints should have been able to express that view, and everybody should have, again, tolerance, listening. Everybody should have gone like, okay, if that's your experience, I can see why that would be something that you might not want to experience. I feel differently, but no, everybody was dogpiling. What happened to ContraPoints' YouTube output after that? It tailed off to almost nothing, right? It was really disheartening to have a whole bunch of people who tell you how you've lost your way and you suck now and you're terrible for having just a mild opinion on something that's happening to you. It's terrible.
It's not even so much an opinion as it is like, this is how I feel about it. This is like just my preference, like not even attacking or being on the aggressive towards them. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. So I'd like to see more prominent people. I'm reminded of Cat Black also. I don't know if you know the incident I'm going to talk about here.
The name sounds familiar, but go on.
Cat Black is a male to female content creator on YouTube. But Cat Black was like, yeah, I was at the club and there was a trans woman who was like acting really inappropriately. And when you do that sort of stuff in public at the club, it reflects on all of us. You can't go around grabbing people's body parts just because you are like part of the trans community now, right? That's not a ticket to sexually assault people. And Cat Black had to rescind all of that stuff too because
why?
Because it's everything is transphobic. Everything is transphobic.
Wait, no, hold on. Okay. I hope you're mischaracterizing this. Let me tell you what I heard, and then you tell me maybe where I'm wrong. So, your claim is that this content creator, Cat Black, expressed dismay at a trans individual in a club sexually assaulting other people.
Well, it was acting inappropriately. What
does that mean?
The threads are all gone now.
Oh.
So they're all deleted. I can't bring up I didn't screenshot them.
So acting inappropriate. So I don't know. I don't know how seriously to take this now because I don't know what that means. Like acting inappropriately. But if she was grabbing people's body parts, right? Like if she was just sexually assaulting people, and she said,
I remember it was some sort of aggressive behavior.
So, some sort of aggressive behavior, right? Sexually.
Yeah.
Saying, yo, maybe cool a little bit. You're kind of representing us. She had she was targeted and harassed for saying don't sexually assault people.
The most fair thing to do would be to have the original. I'm sure because everybody keeps receipts. I'm sure there's receipts around. But for me, it was just like, like if you're misbehaving at a club, if you're acting like if you're really making people uncomfortable with your interactions, and you're also trans, like I feel like I should, if that happened and if I ever went to clubs, nobody invites me, no surprise. If I ever went out and that was happening, and I saw some of that happening, I was like, oh man, it's cringe when that happens, and it makes me feel uncomfortable because I wonder that if this sort of thing is happening and it's not being censured by anyone else in the club, I wonder if people think that I'm going to either also agree with that behavior or engage in it myself,
So I wonder if I can maybe like add something here as like a female to male is I think that I think sometimes with trans issues we'll say like, oh, this like X, Y, or Z action makes us look bad. I can say as like especially trans women because they get targeted more in the media. I can say with certainty since transitioning to male, the amount of cis women that act inappropriately is also like pretty insane. I've had plenty of cis people make me uncomfortable. Women, where like me as a female, you would not think that I'd be uncomfortable by that stuff. But I think in general we can say like whether it's a trans person or a cis person, there's just certain things you shouldn't be doing, and it can like reflect badly on the trans community if like bad faith actors come in and try to like make it look like kind of use that as a representation for all of us. I think that can be done. Anybody can have a bad day and immediately become negative representation for anybody, if you have like one breakdown in public, like the amount of like white women that have breakdowns in public and now suddenly like all white women are crazy psychos, all that kind of thing. I think there's a better way that we can kind of like measure those standards where it's like we can still hold people to the standard of like you should be behaving appropriately in certain situations, and also acknowledge like the trans aspect without it like I guess feeding into the whole argument of like, oh, are you pro-assimilationist or not? Because I feel like that's usually where that goes, is that then it becomes like, well, why should we blend in? Like, why should we become like bend to their will, essentially? Not that I agree with that, but I feel like that's usually where that conversation goes. So I'd be curious, like, what you think of that.
Oh,
Well,
which one of us?
Both of y'all, but you know.
Yeah.
So I want to contextualize Cat Black's statement for a second, because I think it matters here, Oliver. Cat Black was just saying, this was my reaction to it. This was like my internal mindset when I saw it. This was my reaction to it.
Gotcha. That helped a lot, actually. So.
It wasn't prescriptive. It was saying, this is how I felt in that situation.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
So I think that's a little bit different from being prescriptive and saying how you should behave in public, or you know, trying to be the gatekeeper or anything. But
I gotta step away for 2 seconds. I'll be right back. I'm so sorry. Give me 2 seconds.
Not at all. But just having that private reaction, I think, sharing that generated a whole bunch of heat.
And I think that this is, again, indicative of kind of the culture that we've I won't say that has been established. And that's not just the trans community, though, right? This is almost every political community that you can look at has this kind of, if you deviate from the orthodoxy, you will get attacked for it. And I think that the problem with it being in the trans community is that it's not a choice to be trans, right? Like,
I'm so sorry.
In my opinion,
a lot of people now say that it is. So I don't know.
Okay.
What I miss?
Well, let me ask you: do you think it's a choice to be trans, Oliver? Did you?
Hell no, absolutely not. Not even a little bit.
Can some people choose to be trans?
Oh, I can actually. Let me tell you. This very question sent me down a mental breakdown when I was first coming out, because I have conservative parents. And for me, I'm not going to do life-altering changes to my body if I could choose not to do it. So before I had ever come out, like I was just figuring it out for myself. A bunch of these people were talking online about, like, you can choose to be trans, like it's a choice, like some people choose it, you know, whatever. I actually had to delete the app, and it stressed me out for a couple days. Just the amount of damage that kind of pushing that kind of narrative has, not just on like cis people who are then confused, but also trans people who are trying to figure it out for themselves. I think I would have probably figured it out a lot sooner if these kinds of misrepresentations hadn't been all I'd seen for years before. I have a personal stake in when people discuss these kinds of things, because it's just
why did it have that effect on you, if I may ask?
Because
if you're comfortable talking about it.
Oh, of course. For me, it's terrifying coming out as trans, or realizing that actually, this is the right thing for me to be doing, is to especially as an adult, right? There's so many changes that you got to do, to fully transition, and it's a scary thing to think about, that this whole time I thought I was a woman, and now it turns out it actually wasn't the case, and that the alleviation of a lot of the issues I was having from transitioning is great. So it's been all around a very, very good thing for me to do. But figuring that out and going through that process, especially when I was still learning a lot of things about what gender dysphoria was, it was very stressful to be thinking about the personal stake I have in the conversation, and also the pressure of agreeing with people online, and then trying to figure out where all this how all this information gets put together, if that makes sense.
It does to me. So
okay.
Again, I'm a cis guy. Right? What do I know?
Good.
Right? What do I know? But the question becomes, if it is a choice, so you could just choose not to be it. And so why don't you just do that? Right? I don't know if are we saying conversion therapy actually works? What? Huh? It confuses me, but I'm a cis guy. I don't know what I'm talking about. Don't listen to me on this, right? It's just, it's confusing, because again, if it's a choice, you could just choose not to be. Cool. Fair enough. Right? It's not a big deal. But I guess, I don't know. It's always been, as I understood it, is every trans person in real life I have met, has explained it to me. They realized at a very young age that something was off, right? And they learned what that was, and that was that they were actually a trans individual. And so they were able to transition in some way, shape, or form and alleviate a lot of that discomfort that they felt. And that's how it was explained to me. That's why it was explained to me that it's important to provide access to medical care for trans individuals, because without it, they experience distress. And we need to provide them access to this to alleviate that distress. And that's how I understood it. That's how it was sold to me. And honestly, I'm for that, right? If this is a problem for people, it's causing people distress. If it's just something that will help them, yeah, give it to them. Give them what they need. But if it's just, oh, it's just for funsies, haha, like, man, I go on cruises for fun. Are you gonna fund my cruise now? What's going on, right? Like, are you gonna fund my little vacation tours? I mean, I don't know. What do you want me to do here?
Well, the funniest part is when they say that it's oppression to like want to pass, like that like the goal of passing is like the sex that you're transitioning towards. That's like oppressive, and it's like, then why are you so in favor of giving literally everybody hormones if it doesn't matter? Like, and again, it becomes a whole like it's for fun thing. I feel like it calls into question a lot of like medical practices and like the ethics around those, like just in general. I don't think you can just prescribe people opiates if they want to do it for fun. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just hand out every medication or any medication because people decide that they want to get on it. You know, you kind of have to have a process for that. But yeah.
Fair enough. Any thoughts on this, Karina, that you want to share?
Look, there was something that Oliver mentioned maybe at the beginning of the conversation of not liking the term transmasculine, and part of that is because so many people who use that term are natal females who embrace femininity but call themselves transmasculine, and they still call themselves trans. And it happens less with natal males who embrace the term transfeminine, but who dress who present no different from you do, Wick, but still identify themselves as trans. So for people who find some, we talk about validation or affirmation, but who want to transition so that they are living in society as the sex role opposite from their birth sex. Like, and 𝕵𝖎𝖎 Wu basically was talking about this in private messages too. You roll your eyes sometimes, going, how is me trying to live in this world in a way that people see me as my target sex? How is that at all comparable to people who are very clearly like indistinguishable from other people of their own natal sex, and who are just adopting terms and pronouns? Like, and we're all supposed to be in the same community. We're not, like, in no practical sense are we all in the same community, but for solidarity we're supposed to all say that we're under the trans umbrella, and we're not supposed to say anything at all like, I don't understand what our experiences have in common, right? So I know that there's Wick, you said that you've met a lot of trans people. My guess is that
by a lot, it's not like a super high number, right? Like,
I didn't think you meant millions. I thought you meant maybe hundreds of thousands.
But, exactly. They're coming through my door every day, knocking on my door, introducing themselves. That's what's happening. No, but go on.
But I think that if you were to stop and think for a second and say, who are my exemplars? Who are the 3 or 4 or 5 people that I was thinking of when I made that statement? I bet all of them have medically transitioned.
Or in the process of.
Or in the process of it.
Mm-hmm.
But for you, innately, my guess is that you see when somebody is trans, that what's associated with that is the term transition. Sure. And that means that there's an action that they are have pursued or will pursue, whereby they change their appearance and their bodies so that they are more likely to match what our expectations are of the opposite sex.
But to be clear, and I want this to be clear, I don't know enough about the subject to say that one is more valid than the other. I am not taking a stance here. I am not taking a side here. I don't know, right? But I do know that it's a perfectly valid conversation to have, and that someone even questioning these things does not mean you don't support non-binary people, doesn't mean you don't support people who haven't or have no desire to medically transition. If they are being targeted and harassed, I want that to stop. If there are people who haven't transitioned medically, who consider themselves transgender, and who are non-binary or what have you, who are being targeted and harassed and receiving lack of access to things, then that should be fixed. And we should stop, right? But that is a far cry from recognizing that there are differences between the needs of the two groups. People who desire medical transition and people who do not desire medical transition. There are absolutely different things that these groups need. And like you mentioned with the pronoun circles, there are different desires that they want to advocate for. That's fine to have these differences of opinions. I don't know what to tell you. Having one view or leaning towards one view or another doesn't make you evil or wrong. It just is what it is. I don't know. But yeah, I think that, like, because I don't want to keep you guys too long. I do have some things I need to do. But I just guess in closing for me, right? This constant harassment and targeting of political dissidents needs to stop. It's not doing us any favors. If you are a trans ally, if you're in the trans movement, you need to stop getting rid of the people who are advocating for you politically because they won't agree with 100% of what you say. And you need to just stop making shit up. Sunday, stop lying. Simple as. One last, I want to get closing thoughts from both of you, and then I'll just show my shit, and we'll call it a day. Is that good? Oliver, what's your closing thoughts, and where can people find you?
So you can find me on my YouTube. I want to say it's the 𝕵𝖎𝖙, and then it's the same on Kick. I stream on both, like on one or the other. I know Karina's laughing. I think you know what that word means. Like, I was very proud of it when I came up with it. But so I stream on both of those platforms, though not at the same time. I'm also on Twitter at the 𝕵𝖎𝖙, where the two O's are zeros because some French kid got my original account banned. So that's my account now. I'd say my closing statements are just, I think we can always expect people of more radical beliefs to exist. They're always going to try and get a leg up on you or find a way to tear you down as much as possible. I think it's fair to just label them as what they are, which is, in my opinion, reactionary. And then just, do your best to not engage with them and focus on people who are more interested in building progress with you.
Okay. Check him out. He's great. Thank you for being here. We'll have you on more often. Appreciate you being here. Karina.
Appreciate it.
I want to make an appeal to everybody, not just the people who are watching your stream because they're interested in the live stream, but even the people who are going to come back because they're listening for opportunities to, like, take us out of context and destroy us, right? I want to make this appeal to everybody. Try to become a better listener. And if that's the only thing that you work on in yourself, is figuring out how to hear people and listen, not agree. I want to make this really clear. I'm not saying that you should learn how to agree with people, but you should learn how to listen to people. And that's not because you need to learn how to listen to people who you agree with. It is to learn how to listen to people that you don't agree with. And that's just the first step. But if there's some way that you would like to enjoy the world more, to feel safer in the world, to develop personally, and to just get more enjoyment, because being in a world that's full of curiosity and wonders better than being in a world full of threats and enemies. The first step is just learning how to listen. So that's my appeal.
Thank you. Where can people find you?
I am on Twitter at @heterodorks, and you can follow me on the Heterodorks podcast that I do with Nina Paley.
Fun. I've seen you had some pretty big guests. I forget the doctor's name or who you recently had a double debate with. Do you know what I'm referring to? I forget his name.
Oh, last year we did a debate with Colin Wright.
Yes,
and
Colin Wright. Yes.
And oh my gosh, my name recall is about the worst thing in the world.
I understand that too.
She wrote Galileo's Middle Finger. Alice Straker.
Yes, that's some heavy hitters. So congratulations on that. Check her out, gang. She's great. I'll say this at the end. Well, let me chill and then I'll give my final statement. Tomorrow we're gonna have Old Man Laundry on at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, who has actually successfully won his local political elections. Right? He's actually done this. He's actually boots on the ground, done political activism successfully, and gotten elected. So yeah. He's going to be interesting to have on and hear his thoughts on what is effective political advocacy and effective political change. So we're going to talk to him, interview him directly. Wednesday, we have a panel debate on the right to privacy. How much privacy should you really expect online? And so we're going to have some great people on. We're going to have Strader Eight on. We're going to have 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙𝖘𝍍𝖔𝖜 on. We're going to have Sushi on. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. We should check it out. Thursday, I'm going to be talking to Brittany Simon. Brittany Simon recently released a 5-hour hit piece on how I was emotionally abusive to 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙𝖘𝍍𝖔𝖜. That I have some thoughts, and she's graciously agreed to come on, and we'll see what she has to say. That's all I'll say for now. Gang, it's been fun. It's been a pleasure. One last advocacy, and this is to President Sunday and his supporters. If, after seeing how President Sunday has repeatedly lied, bent the truth, and targeted people for harassment, if you still support him, I have one question to end on, and that is simply this. Why? Okay, with that, we'll call it a day, and good night. Good luck. Bye.